Lieutenant General William Ejapong has issued a sobering warning. Violent extremist groups in the Sahel are expanding deeper into West Africa and probing southward toward Ghana, with terrorism now a growing regional threat. The question is no longer whether Ghana is at risk, it is whether we are adequately prepared to prevent, detect, and respond to any incursion. And these are the critical issues shaping our national conversation this morning that we'll be looking at. So stay with us as we speak to our distinguished guests and explore practical solutions to these urgent challenges. I am Alti Saida Sadiq, and we'll be back with reflections. This is Current Agenda, your Saturday morning companion, and on Reflections today, we're looking at Accra floods, a national emergency that demands national discipline. Now, devastating floods that recently swept through parts of Accra have once again exposed one of Ghana's greatest and most persistent failures. Not a lack of rainfall, but a lack of planning, discipline, and enforcement. Lives have been lost, families have been displaced, homes have been submerged, vehicles have been swept away. Businesses have suffered enormous losses, and on the Accra-Kaswa Highway, floodwaters mixed with sand turned one of Ghana's busiest roads into a nightmare, trapping thousands of commuters in hours of agonizing traffic. The question is no longer whether Accra floods. The question is why we have failed to stop something that has become so predictable. Is the problem simply that Ghana lacks the hydraulic engineering expertise needed to design modern drainage systems capable of handling today's volume of rainfall? Perhaps our drainage infrastructure has not kept pace with rapid urbanization. But engineering alone cannot solve a problem that is equally rooted in human behavior. Our drains have become dumping grounds for plastic waste and household refuse. Wetlands that nature created to absorb excess water have been sold and built upon. Waterways have disappeared under concrete structures, yet many of these developments received permits, raising serious concerns about the effectiveness of our building inspectorates and our commitment of our metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies to enforce planning regulations. Now, laws without enforcement become mere suggestions. This is not just a government problem, it is a national behavioral problem. Every citizen who dumps refuse into a drain, every developer who builds on a watercourse, every official who turns a blind eye, and every institution that fails to enforce the law contributes to the next disaster. The response must therefore be bold and uncompromising. Illegal structures and waterways must be removed, regardless of who owns them. Planning laws must be enforced without fear or favor. Sanitation education must begin in our schools and communities and become a sustained national campaign rather than a seasonal exercise whenever the rains arrive. Some have suggested deploying the military to support civil authorities in enforcing sanitation laws and protecting waterways. Well, while the military can provide logistical support during emergencies or assist in lawful operations, lasting environmental discipline cannot be achieved through force alone. Sustainable change comes from consistent law enforcement by the appropriate civil authorities, effective institutions, civic education, and a citizenry that understands that protecting the environment is a shared responsibility. Discipline imposed at gunpoint is temporary. Discipline embraced as a national value endures. Climate change may be bringing more intense rainfall, but human negligence is turning heavy rains into national disasters. The cost of inaction is measured not only in cities, but in lives. If we are serious about building a resilient Ghana, then we must stop treating flooding as an annual inconvenience and start confronting it as a national emergency requiring engineering excellence, political will, institutional integrity, and civic responsibility. Until then, every rainy season will continue to remind us that nature is unforgiving when human negligence becomes the norm. This has been my reflections this morning. When we return from the big break, we will be dealing with vexed matters occupying thoughts. This is Current Agenda, your Saturday morning companion. I am Maltiti.
Back and stay safe. The National Petroleum Authority is cautioning the public to desist from scooping or fetching fuel from overturned fuel tankers at accident scenes. Do not get closer to the scene in an attempt to take videos or pictures. Inhaling the petroleum product is detrimental to your health. Worst of all, petroleum products are volatile and highly flammable, and a small spark can trigger a catastrophic explosion, causing deaths and loss of property. Call the Ghana Fire Service or Ghana Police personnel to handle the scene, or reach the National Petroleum Authority's contact center on 0302 550 380. Your life is worth more than a gallon of fuel. This Save a Life campaign is from the National Petroleum Authority.
For decades, we have helped businesses connect with their trade partners all over the globe. From Ghana to Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Benin, Togo, Senegal, China, Morocco, France, Netherlands, and many other countries. We have made it possible to bring Ghana to the world. We have brought small and medium businesses closer to their customers across the regions in Ghana with our SME support facilities. We have brought relief and smiles to the faces of families with our employee personal loans. With our cutting-edge technology and digital support, we take the burden of complex thinking off you, making life simple. That is who we are, as close as a partner. Bank of Africa. We are indeed the African bank with the global reach.
In Ghana, football is not just a game. It is the conversation in the morning, the argument in the afternoon, and the heartbeat of the evening. From Accra to Tamale, Cape Coast to Ho, we may come from different places, but when the whistle blows, we stand as one, we watch as one, we cheer as one, and when the victory comes, we win as one.
Catch the World Cup action live on GTV Sports Plus, the home of live action.
Ganam Tolkay.
stay safe. The National Petroleum Authority is cautioning the public to desist from scooping or fetching fuel from overturned fuel tankers at accident scenes. Do not get closer to the scene in an attempt to take videos or pictures. Inhaling the petroleum product is detrimental to your health. Worst of all, petroleum products are volatile and highly flammable, and a small spark can trigger a catastrophic explosion, causing deaths and loss of property. Call the Ghana Fire Service or Ghana Police personnel to handle the scene, or reach the National Petroleum Authority's contact center on 0302 550 380. Your life is worth more than a gallon of fuel. This Save a Life campaign is from the National Petroleum Authority.
For decades, we have helped businesses connect with their trade partners all over the globe. From Ghana to Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Benin, Togo, Senegal, China, Morocco, France, Netherlands, and many other countries. We have made it possible to bring Ghana to the world. We have brought small and medium businesses closer to their customers across the regions in Ghana with our SME support facilities. We have brought relief and smiles to the faces of families with our employee personal loans. With our cutting-edge technology and digital support, we take the burden of complex thinking off you, making life simple. That is who we are, as close as a partner. Bank of Africa. We are indeed the African bank with the global reach.
You're welcome back to the show. This is Current Agenda on GTV. We're live across board everywhere. If you go on radio, you can watch us as well across, you can listen to us live actually across our regional radio stations. This morning, I will keep you company for the next 3 or so hours. I am Altiti Saida Sadiq. Now, we're going to dive into the conversation to talk about flat security and extremism and the xenophobic attacks in South Africa as well. This morning at the table, representing various institutions and organizations and parties as well, is on my immediate left Mr. Richard Amoyate. He's Director of Inspectorate at NADMO. Mr. Amoyate, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Welcome to the table. At the table as well is Trinibua Kodia. He is a private legal practitioner. Lawyer Kodia, good morning to you. Welcome back.
Good morning.
Hope you're well. Okay. Emmanuel Cotton, Executive Director, Africa Center for Security and Counterterrorism, makes a return to the table. Cotton, good morning to you. How's it been?
Good, has been peaceful.
Good, we thank God. And Ross Osei Owusu is spokesperson for Local Government and Decentralization Committee of the MPP. He's a member of the MPP's Legal Directorate. Ross, good morning.
Good morning, Motiti.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Great. Gentlemen, floods. 7 regions currently submerged underwater. Cumulatively, if you put together the figures, unfortunately, of people who have died, looks like we're hitting about 30, if I'm not mistaken, or 25, because I did see that 18 have died in the central region. Then there's Accra, which has close to 12, 13, and Western North, Volta region as well. I saw that people have died. And when the floods came on Monday, we were told that warnings had been given even early on in the year, around February, that this was what we were going to expect. Did we brace ourselves in expectation for this kind of devastation, or we left it to nature and to whatever systems we have in place to see if it could be handled? We're hearing that it's not just Ghana as well. The sub-region, Cote d'Ivoire, is experiencing this, which is attributed to climate change of some sort, but how are systems dealing with it? Let me begin with engineer here. Engineer, how on Monday, when the alert came, maybe you would tell us if you had the alert before us, even the night or the day before Monday, that the rains were going to be this heavy and you needed to put in some contingency plan in place. Mr. Yati.
Well, good morning. Good morning to your viewers and good morning to my fellow panelists. Let me continue by saying good morning to my Director General, all NADMO staff who are working around the clock this period to ensure the protection of our comrades or compatriots who suffered floods on the 29th of this month, last month, sorry, not June. And our collaborating agencies who worked with us and are still working with us, Ghana National Fire Service, Ghana Police Service, National Ambulance Service, and the Ghana Armed Forces. We've been working together. We did a search and rescue together, and now we're at the relief phase and then debris management following the floods. So we are working around the clock to ensure that all those who are affected are supported.
You've heard the questions that has NADMO, we know that you have talked about in the past resource constraints, and I was asking when the alert came in February that this year's rains may be heavier than we've ever experienced. Tell us what the plan was looking like for NADMO.
We've always had a very good relationship with the Ghana Meteorological Agency. Every day we have weather information, one in the morning and one in the evening, and then intermittently when there's the need for any alert, they give to us. So from the beginning, when they gave us the outlook for the year, we activated all our contingency plans across the country, and then our people started working to open up drainage channels and then try to recover some wetlands so that all the structures, unnatural structures that impede flow of water will be removed to ensure that we have a smooth flow to mitigate the flooding.
Right.
So we did all these things, but then...
As far back as when? February, when the alert came? Or?
Yeah, just after the alert. In fact, it's our annual plan. Yeah, so alert or no alert, we kickstart our flood mitigation efforts. Yeah, but unfortunately, there was just too much rainfall. Yeah, because for the first time, I've seen the Ranger Dam, all 5 gates opened at very high intensity.
Right. Something
all through my years in Edmore, I've never said the open 3 at about 12 inches, 6 inches. By this time, all 5 gates were opened very high intensity, 34 inches. It was spilling at a very high intensity, an indication of excessive rainfall activity upstream. So that is what happened, and across the country, we had about 91,000 displaced. That is as at 6 a.m., 1800 hours this morning.
90,000.
6 hours, 100 hours this morning.
Okay.
91,000 across the country.
Displaced.
Greater Accra, the highest
having
number.
The highest share. Okay.
And then most of the people who were displaced are moved from the safe places because the water levels have receded. You said in the intro that the whole country is submerged. So no, there's no place to submerge.
Okay. I mean, a larger part of
it happened on the 29th. The water levels have receded. Life is returning to normal. And then most of the persons who were displaced, we have a very strong coping capacity, family and friends. We're with family and friends, and then we had just a few who spent the nights in safe places. By the next day, when the water levels have receded, they moved back home and then started cleaning. And as an organization, we have entered the relief phase of our operations, where we are providing massive support across the country to persons who are affected by the floods.
What is peculiar in all the regions that are affected across the board? So if they say 7 regions are affected, Volta region affected, some people have died. Yesterday there was that alert from the Interior Ministry. If you're from Tamale and you have any ties there, you would have gotten the message that Upper East, Upper West, Northern region, Savannah region may experience heavy rains. That's the message I got from the Interior Ministry. And what are the plans looking like?
Like I already said that we activated all our plans across the country, including but we usually have the southern sector rainy season and then the northern sector rainy season.
Right.
Yeah, like we've had the southern sector rainy season kickstart early, it's also likely that the northern sector rainy season will kickstart early. So there are contingencies activated in all those areas to mitigate the flooding.
What's your most immediate support that you give these victims when the floods hit and the devastation?
Immediately, we need to give them, especially those who don't have place to sleep. We need to give them mattresses, we need to give them blankets, but they've lost theirs. And then even when they are with family and friends, they still require this support. And then most of the people have lost their livelihoods. And then especially those others who are do by day jobs, now they have to stay home and then clean and stuff, so they can no longer go out there to earn a living. So we're providing food support.
Okay. Do you provide long-term support? Do you have the resources?
Depending on the situation, we assess continually, and then based on the situation, we do the needful. Now, like I said, we've started relief. Some people could be weaned off relief after 1 or 2 days. Others, it may be prolonged. That's why we continually assess individuals.
Right. There are sentiments that some of your officials in very key positions, key decision-making positions, are political appointees or political people who lack the expertise to be able to be instructive when these things happen. How true is that?
I would want to say every institution, there are political appointments across every institution does political appointments when there's a regime change. So it cuts across all agencies, all institutions.
But your personnel,
it's not peculiar to NADN.
But your personnel have the professional capacity to be able to handle.
That is why we are managing the situation.
Because I'm sure you also saw the videos of people, citizens trying to dive into the water to bring people dead bodies and.
We always count on the expertise of volunteers.
Okay.
But we have people in communities who are not working with the organization, but they have a certain level of expertise that we may need at a point in time. So we always use volunteers who have the required expertise to support our operations.
What are your impediments when you go to support victims? What poses a challenge to you?
The major challenge is that people think that relief is just handing out goodies to people in flood-prone areas.
That's the mattresses and
yes.
Okay.
They think that I live here. A has been given mattress, I didn't get. But the relief is based on needs assessment. We assess every individual, and then based on what we find out, we provide the relief.
So are you doing enough sensitization for people to understand your mandate?
We are doing the best that we can.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let me go to Lawyer Kujia. Lawyer, I'm seeing the ECOWAS chair, President of Sierra Leone, also, commiserating with Ghana and the other African countries that have been affected by the floods. I know that you definitely have heard that the alert came in February. Were our systems ready enough to deal with this? The president has had his say about what he would have done if he were president in the past, and now president. There's that task force that was put together as well to ascertain how we could mitigate what we're seeing today. What are your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts are that first, floods are universal phenomena. They did not begin today. I doubt if they would ever cease. What matters is what we do.
Right.
Pray the floods during and after. When I was preparing for today's program and throughout the week, I had been thinking about how humans relate to floods generally. And I came across, if you permit me, a scripture.
Right.
Matthew 24:37-39. This is Jesus speaking.
Okay.
He said that, but as the days of Noah were, so shall also be the coming of the Son of Man. And this is where it gets exciting. For us in the days that were before the flood, so flood before Jesus, and in the days of Noah, it says that the people were eating and drinking, marrying, and being married. Then until the day that Noah entered the ark. and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So there was a signal,
Right.
there was a warning, there was a caution sufficiently. But when you read the Bible, it says that in so many days, Noah went about warning them. In your presentation, but after listening to your presentation, I told myself, there ain't any need coming to sit here and then discuss what, because we have captured the very essence of the why we are here this morning relative to the flood.
Right.
Did we know? Yes. Ghana Matthew had cautioned us. In fact, it was on their website. And my brother Muyate has confirmed that there was a signal. And so at least somebody knew. Question: was it amplified? I would say no. Because it matters least to us as a country.
Floods matter least to us as a country.
It does.
People
It only matters when it affects us and we are being carried away. But when we are told first, or when we are pre-told, it matters least to us. Because there was the signal. Titi, if a news portal had reported that some politician had been arrested, the media will amplify it. There may even be massive demonstration. We go and keep them in company. You could be in national security. But there's a signal as to floods, and everybody quiet, eating and drinking and watching Black Stars. That was what mattered to us. That was what mattered to us.
But maybe for the Ghanaian, there are institutions that they felt will be doing the work behind the scenes.
But I'm saying that we didn't amplify it.
Okay.
We ought to have done so. The history of floods in Ghana dates back to 1935, thereabout. Hello? And then we have had recurrence. Why? The latest that is so grave in our minds, June 3rd. I remember that day. Anytime it is June, after 2015 disaster, I remember. And I always feel sad because I was also caught in some part of Accra. I remember that day, driving for about 3 hours. I was in traffic. My fuel gauge was, I indicated that I was getting short of fuel. And I remember all those things. And I remember all the things we said thereafter. The planning, the discussion, the proposal, the roadmap. And here we are again. And that is why I said that it may come again. I'm not going to say that it is going to come again. So first, I want to say that we have to take such signals seriously. As for the rains, they will come. It's a natural, it's God-made. But the floods are man-made.
Okay.
And being man-made, we should ask ourselves as humans, what do we have to do? As if we don't know what to do. We know that we have, we have laws, we have institutions. The Ghana Meteorological Agency is established by law. What did they do? Early signals. They tell us. Which institution again? Ghana Hydrological Authority. There is an act. What do? They deal with drainage, flood control, coastal engineering. We are here in Accra. They do all that. So there is an authority for that.
Right.
The Land Use and Spatial Planning Act. Under the act, there is an authority. They tell us what to do at where. But here in Ghana, why? Farmlands are now residential areas where we shouldn't build, we are building. And we do it so forcefully and with impunity. Sometimes rendering the institutions, the policing institutions, useless. Because if they dare, we will pick phones and then call the powers that be that NADBO has come and say they are going to break into my house, and then some honorable will say that, Nupa, why are you doing this? You see the people, you can do them. As for water, we can divert it to us. And then here we are. Mr. Amuyate, I believe that in his, if we were to talk to him privately, he will tell you things. Things that cannot be discussed in public.
Well, I don't know why we are where we are today.
Exactly. So that is why we are here. NADMO. Yes, NADMO has an act. Disaster prevention and also control. He was talking about, we are getting to the relief stage. There is one more stage that he hasn't spoken about.
Okay.
The sleeping stage.
Sleeping
After
stage.
the relief. Why are you giving us mattresses? So we go back and sleep. And do
They shouldn't give mattresses to Lawyer Kodia.
So we go and sleep.
Literally.
We go back to the days of Noah, eat and drink.
And marry.
And sleep. And then until the next time when the floods come again. I think that we should be a serious-minded people when these things occur. I have learned about a new entity that has been constituted,
led by the Brigadier General.
We like creating entities, even in the face of existing and well-structured institutions. We like, I call them institutional overlayers. So in Akan they say something like, and I'm not saying that we don't want to do anything. I will say it in Pia, let's see if I can trust. They said, Akokwa ompena tuatu no akotu ni kwansen.
Okay, very deep, but you said you
the hand that doesn't want to lay the egg at the time that it should lay, then it will decide to go and then lay in the owner's pot. So the owner will come and say that, don't come and do it here. Say, you are the one driving me away. I wanted to do it.
I get the analogy.
People sometimes. So these are my initial comments. We have whatever it takes to deal with the floods. We might not be able to prevent them totally, but at least minimize and mitigate the risk. That one, it is in our power. We have the laws, we have the institutions. What is left is the Ghana Willpower Agency. Once we are able to establish that agency and it's working, then we'll be able to do that. Otherwise,
oversee.
Let me tell you, next year, don't call us again. Come and play the recording, because it will reflect the very same situation if the floods come again.
Which is quite unfortunate this morning. Thank you, Lawyer Kodia. Let me go to Zoom now, because also at the table we've been joined by Engineer Reverend Professor Eric Ofesu-Antwi, SPE. He is an Associate Professor, Civil Engineering Department, University of Energy and Natural Resources. Good morning to you, Professor Ofesu-Antwi. Can you hear us, sir? If you can unmute yourself.
I have unmuted.
Great to hear your voice. Good morning to you. My panel are speaking about, engineering solutions, because it does not appear that it's just a human behavioral problem, but the systems that are built to be able to collectively support our drainage or mitigate flooding. Why have we sat aloof from June 3rd, if you said the warnings have been given? From February, the Meteo gave the warnings. So now, people are still building on waterways. We're hearing the reduction in the space between the river banks and where no one should build, receding drastically.
Okay, thank you very much. I would want to take us through the fundamentals of flooding and hydrology so that we'll all appreciate it, and that will help us to be able to provide the solutions that they expect from engineers. So naturally, if you look at the Bible, Genesis chapter 1 verse 16, you will see that verse 6, you see that God, when he was creating the earth, separated the waters below and the waters above. So we have the sky. And then on the third day, he separated the waters and the land. So we have the sea. And then he said that, let all the waters gather to one place. So you realize that every river leads to the sea. And so once they lead to the sea, they already have their path. So before we occupy any space, you find the rivers already located. And we must respect their space. If you don't respect their space, you will run into trouble, because the instruction God has given is always obeyed. So every rain that comes onto the earth is alien. Okay, it's alien, and it must run down to the sea, because the space of the rain must be respected. Now, when you meet a river and the river is occupying its space, it doesn't mean that that is the only space of the river, because a river has two regimes. We have the wet season and then the dry season. In the wet season, usually the river will overflow its banks and gets into other areas. And the areas that it gets into, we call it the flat plains. And you usually see that these flat plains are wetlands. They are still areas occupied by the river, and they must be respected. So if any people or set of people decide to move into that area, they must respect the original natural allocation provided. Okay, so that is the space of the river channel and its flat plains must be respected. Now let us also take note that rainfall is not the same every day. We have rains that fall once in a year. We call them the annual rainfall. We have rains that fall once in 5 years. We call them a 5-year return period rain. We have rains that fall in once in 10 years, rains that fall once in 100 years, rains that fall 1 in 50 years, rains that fall 1 in 1,000 years, and rains that fall 1 in 200, and even rains that fall 1 in 10,000 years. So we engineers, we call them maybe a 20-year return period rainfall or a 50-year return period rainfall. So those are the intensities of the rain. Now, when this rain falls, the river channel itself cannot contain when it is bigger, so it will overflow its banks. So all those areas that you see them as wetlands are for these high intensity rainfalls, and they are natural, and by the command of God they will use their path. So when you are developing, you must respect these paths of the rain. And sometimes when a 20-year rainfall hasn't fallen or hasn't occurred, or a 50-year rainfall haven't occurred, you will think that, oh, you are safe. But when that kind of rainfall occurs, it will come to its location. The unfortunate thing for Accra is that Accra is a flat plain. And because it's a flat plain, the slopes are very small and almost negligible. So when it happens like that, the river channels are large and the flat plains are also large. In hydrology, the size of the channel or the drain depends on the slope. If your slope is steep, your drains are bigger and you don't experience a lot of flooding. But when your area is flat, your drains are supposed to be large, and you also experience a lot of flooding because it takes a long time for the river to be able to channel the water down. So in natural fact, when you take Accra, a lot of the areas were already flat plains because of the flat land. And the rivers are meandering, okay? They don't go straight, they are meandering. And when they meander, they occupy a lot of space. So I'm addressing it from this point for us to know that where we chose our capital city naturally had future implications, because you could tell that a significant portion of the land within Accra were already flat plains. And if your rainfall intensity should increase, you are going to have a lot of your areas also be flooded. So this is naturally how Accra was. So you could tell from the geography I've described that majority of the areas or significant portion of the areas in Accra were not supposed to be inhabited. They were not supposed to be inhabited. Now let me take you to when rain falls, what happens. When the rain falls, what happens is that the rain that drops on the surface of the earth is partitioned into three. A portion of the rain or a percentage of the rain will infiltrate into the ground. we call it infiltration. A portion will also run off into the rivers or into the drains or into the streams. We call it runoff generation. And then a third portion will evaporate back into the atmosphere depending on the temperature of the ground. If you look at these three categories, what infiltrates, it's dependent on the moisture level of the soil. And then what returns back into the atmosphere through evaporation depends on the temperature. Those ones are sometimes negligible. But what runs off also depends on the nature of the soil, of the surface. If the surface area is, for example, a forest, more will infiltrate. If the surface area is a grass, you get infiltration, but not as much as a forest. If the surface area is hard, then a lot of the water or the rain will run off into the river. So these are the conditions that we check before we design a drain. So if we get a place which is not developed, mostly the drains are not very big because you have a significant portion of the rainfall infiltrating into the ground. And then a certain percentage will be generated into the drains. Now, as we keep developing the area, our infiltration capacity will reduce and our runoff generation will increase. So, as Accra is, we realize that as we continue to develop, we are losing more grounds for infiltration, and then runoff generation will increase.
Engineer, and if we know this, why don't we just go ahead then and build the bigger drains, thinking about the future that we will get there? And this is what will happen when we start developing new areas. Instead of building smaller drains, why don't we just do the big drains? That we have to come back to see, are we going to break down the small drains and create big drains? We clearly understand the land of Accra and how you've described it.
Okay, so in Accra, what happened was that by plan, they decided that they will leave what we call retention ponds. So there were areas earmarked in Accra called retention ponds, which were supposed to hold water when it rains and allow the drains to be able to carry the ones they are in through. And then when the drains have been able to release the ones the drains have, that the retention ponds will release the rest. Let me say that the sizing of drains depends on the level of risk we want to take as a country. If you are sizing a drain that would take a 10-year flood, okay, it is smaller and less expensive than sizing a drain that takes maybe a 25-year flood. And most of the drains we have in the country, the road-sized drains are 5-year return period drain sizes. And then the streams and the channels that the stream drains like the Odo River and the rest, hardly will you see them being above 10-year or 15-year return period. Because if you want to do a 25-year or 50-year, it is quite big and massive. So some of these things, the authorities have to decide the level of risk we want to take. So if you don't design a 25-year return period drain and a 50-year rainfall happens, I mean, a lot of the areas are going to be flooded. So I agree with you that we should have sized it, but that is very expensive. So strategically, about 10 areas in Accra were left as holding ponds or retention areas. They were natural depressions which were not supposed to be developed, okay, and they were to be as a buffer, okay, we call them attenuation buffers. So when it rains, these natural detention ponds will hold the water and allow what has gone into the drain to be released through into the sea. And then when the level of water in the drains have subsided, the retention ponds will release theirs. Unfortunately, all these 10 areas have been developed.
Okay, engineer. What role does dredging upstream, downstream, we hear these permutations in the whole engineering grand scheme of things, play in mitigating floods?
So let me tell you one thing that we are losing sight of in Ghana. Seriously, the action at the coast is something that we have not taken notice of. And recently, I wish that I could even speak to the Ministry of Works and Housing about this. You know, the waves at the sea, deposit sand at the estuary. The action of the sea always cuts sand and deposits it at the estuary. Okay, so when we have dry season, the mouth of the river that enters the sea gets clogged. The action of the waves usually will eat up the sand and deposit it at the estuary and block it. So it doesn't allow water to flow easily into the sea. It is natural. And therefore, when you have a situation like this in Accra, we need to dredge the estuary of the sea and even into the sea to allow water to be able to flow into the sea easily. But this is not being done for the Odo River in Accra. And I believe that the floods we see when the rain set off in Accra is largely attributed to the clogging of the mouth of the Odo River. Seriously, apart from all the things we have done as human beings, encroaching rivers and the rest, but engineering wise, we must have a dredger. One of the things I would recommend is that we must have a dredger located at the Odo River, which will pump the sand from the sea shore. Okay, it will even move a little bit into the sea, the mouth of the estuary deeper, create space so that when it rains, it can just push in. Because if it is clogged, you need a lot of force to be able to push the sand away for water to move. VRA has a dredger at the Adan River, okay, the Volta River, the mouth of the Volta River entering the sea at Adan, which is always pumping sand. It is always pumping sand from there, okay, to allow water to be able to enter into the sea. And Accra is a strategic place that we should think of this. We are using, those excavators to dredge, but the excavators cannot do the work I am talking about. I hope that the Ministry of Works and Housing would take a keen look at what we have at Adan Estuary, the mouth of the Volta River at Adan,
okay,
and propose a similar one there for the dredging of the estuary of the Odo River.
Thank you,
Engineer.
Engineer.
That's why we have lost it.
Okay, thank you, Engineer. I will come back to you. Thank you. Let me come to Mr. Yate here because I know you have to take leave of us. How significant will it be, the military and this committee or task force that has been put together to pull down buildings on the waterways? Will it help your work?
Yeah, like the engineer who just spoke indicated that there's a lot of water that passes through Accra. You know, Accra is surrounded by the Krepin Mountains. And then the Krepin Mountain releases a lot of water. But then, like he talked about the retention points, at Adenta, Abokobi, or Yerefa had natural retention points, which have all been reclaimed and developed. So there's a faster flow of runoffs. And then the vegetation on the Krepin Mountain is also being removed for concrete development. So like he talked about faster flow of runoffs downstream. Okay. And then apart from the fact that the retention areas have all been reclaimed for fiscal development, Greater Accra metropolitan area from Niger all the way to Temasakumono, there are 9 drainage basins.
9.
He talked about the Densu, which is central. But he's talked about the Odo, which is central. But we have the Densu, we have the Lafa, we have the Kolokrote, we have the Peshi, we have the Sakumo, and then a few others, the names then we have the Chimu. All these basins are silted. So we need to widen them, we need to open them and deepen them so that they can carry enough water. And then sometimes it's in two folds, like the recent situation. We have the flash floods, high intensity, low infiltration, And then we're also having the fluvial, the water channels were overflowing. So that is why it was as it. So a lot of dredging, opening up these water channels, and then clearing the structure that impede the flow. That is what causes the flash floods. The structures impede the flow into the drainage channels.
Okay.
So it inundates community. So the dredging
would work.
Seriously.
Okay, the military pull down the buildings on the waterways and then they're
not just pulling down the buildings. You open up the pull down the buildings, you don't open up the waterways. And then you see most of these buildings are constructed on elevated grounds. And what was originally a low-lying area is elevated. So it blocks the flow.
Right.
Water. So once you remove the structures, you have to remove all the filling.
Okay.
So for the area to return to its low-lying nature.
I know that.
Since Mr. Yate will be leaving, I wanted to find out all these activities that he's talking about. Do they come before the floods or after the floods have come?
Yes, some, come, like I said, at the beginning of the year, we started this removing of structures on the waterways. You saw the Reishi action, you saw the Sakumo. These were all parts of the preparations. There was, probably if we had not done those, it could have been worse. Yes.
Honestly, it looks as if most of your planning activities are geared towards giving relief than doing the prevention aspect. If you look at your budget's overflow, over 70% is spent on reliefs. Why? If you plan to give reliefs, you are indicating that
you expect a disaster.
You are expecting a disaster, and we must move away from that mindset. I think as an organization, this is what I can urge you.
Okay, noted, but let me make this point. Like you talk about floods, you quoted the Ghana Hydrological Authority Act. They are responsible for controlling the flood and ensuring that we don't have floods. I mean, reduce the flood. Ghana Hydrological Authority.
Okay.
Ghana Hydrological Authority. The drainage channels under the Ministry of Works and Housing. So certain areas are under certain agencies.
Okay.
And then they all have to play their role. Our focus on prevention is sensitizing the public to prevent themselves from
being affected.
That is the point.
Okay.
But preventing the flood or mitigating the flood itself, and the Ghana Hydrological Authority,
land use and
spatial planning.
Okay.
So our prevention is not about controlling the flow
of the water, of the channels.
Of the channels, no.
Okay.
It's mostly to do with the individual, the citizens.
So whereby you tell them don't build this place is a Ramsar site.
So that's why I always, whenever I have the opportunity.
So what is the business of NADMO demolishing properties if yours is not?
NADMO is not. Let me make the point clear. Let me make the point clear.
It looks as if your role is there like the FEMA.
They are overlapping.
The FEMA we have in the US. So if your role is not, like you indicated, as the job of the hydrological
to control the waterways.
What is your business destroying people's property?
We are not destroying properties.
You are demolishing
the assemblies. By Act 927, when a structure is hazardous, it will harm people.
Okay.
When it's in a hazardous location, the safety of people will be impacted. So the assemblies certify those structures as hazardous or in hazardous locations, and then we have the legal mandate to remove them so that they do not harm the people. So we cannot just go, we don't just go into demolition. We need certification, and the certification comes from the assemblies. All the demolitions that is why you see the local government authorities, the regional minister, everybody is involved. They do the mapping, and then the red zone is demarcated, and then we work with them to remove the unauthorized structures.
Okay,
I usually don't want to talk about demolition, but we remove unauthorized structures.
Making the work of the Hydraulic Authority easier for them to open up the channels. Is that what it is? Mr. Yate?
But the removal comes by demolition.
Not sometimes there are containers, we just carry them.
But demolition has not the word. I think it's one legalities on demolition. Giving the mandate or not.
So,
yeah, Mr. Yatteh, I don't know if you've heard the sentiment, because of what's happening in Côte d'Ivoire with the flooding as well, warnings that there may be a landslide in Ghana soon. Is it possible because of the building on the mountains?
Ghana, some portions of Ghana have been identified to be prone to geological hazards. So earthquakes, landslides, rockfalls, and we've been experiencing, we call them minor ones in Malam. Recently, we had one in Sekendi, a landslide, and then in the Volta region, Adaklu. But they are minor and they didn't impact heavily. So Ghana is prone to, we have a history of geological incidents, and so NADMO is very much aware.
Okay, but what are we doing about it to prevent that? A landslide is serious.
Yeah, see, it all has to do with development control.
Okay.
Development control, which sits with the local government authorities. And like I said, our role with prevention and mitigation is with the people, how they should not be affected by the incidents.
Are we likely to see sensitization where there's a ban on building on these mountains for the next 5 years so that we can ascertain?
We are doing a lot of sensitization. We are doing a lot of sensitization on earthquakes, flooding, and all that.
All right.
Yeah, we're doing it.
Thank you, Mr.
Like I said, currently we are involved in the relief for those persons who are affected by the floods. And so we are pushing a lot of support to the people across the country.
Okay, Mr. Moyate, thank you for that information, very vital. Now at least we understand where the blame should go or who to call out. Cotton, I'll come to you now for your submissions on the flooding.
Well, thank you for having me, and very good morning to my co-panelists. You see, Haja, I think Accra has gone beyond redemption unless we decongest Accra. That's the only way to go now.
What is decongest?
I will come to that. Because if you look at it, I have witnessed after the 1995 flooding, that is 31 years of failure in leadership. And that is 31 years of learning nothing. So the question becomes, what is the way forward? You see, leadership has failed us as a people. And I think it's about time we redirect our taxes from politics and campaigning to fixing our problems.
Okay.
You see the United Kingdom. United Kingdom is lying below the sea level. Take London as an example. London is sitting on water. Go and see the massive engineering they have done. If you hear flooding in London, then it's a worst case scenario that we call the force majeure and whatever. And flooding happens everywhere. But some of these are preventable.
Okay.
You don't wait and expect magic to happen. Look, I have offered on countless occasions that if care is not taken, we wake up one day, get 24-hour rain, and the whole of Accra will be submerged. Why would it be the case that if you need anything in Ghana, you must travel to Accra? Let's use economics of scale. Look at comparative advantages of the regions. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
If northern region or Brown Half region has had advantage in farming, you move Ministry of Agriculture to Brown Half region. If Western region is the hub or Ashanti region is the hub of mining, you move the Ministry of Mining to Ashanti region. If we do that, no one will be interested in concentrating in a particular place.
The kind of transport system we have, Cotton, going to inter-regional transport?
That is why I'm saying that we have witnessed 31 years of failure in leadership and 31 years of planning to do nothing. If we are conscious in planning in this way, That is when we put all this infrastructure in place. And you listen to my opening statement. Look at the kind of expensive political campaigns we do in this country. Let's divert those monies into fixing our problems. If we don't decongest Accra, there is nothing that we do that we can overcome what we are talking about today. And you see, this country has become a country where the high and mighty are placed above the law, and the poor, vulnerable, and low people in society are put under the law. Even the demolitions they are doing, it's been very selective. You remember?
Selective
demolition. Selective demolition. You remember the Shangri-La case? When, under the Rawlings, this hotel was almost about being commissioned. They said it was on the waterway and demolished the whole building. Go to Shangri-La right now and see what has happened to Shangri-La. So those apartments around the airport, they are on the waterway. You see that anytime small rain, the Shangri-La area, guess what? Flooded. This is just an example I'm setting to let you understand why the law is applicable to the poor and vulnerable and not applicable to the privileged.
So somebody signed the permit for that Shangri-La to be recaptured.
And you know why? Until we hold government officials responsible, those who issue these permits, building permits and those kind of things, we cannot move beyond what we are talking about. I do accept as a citizen that I have a duty of care because government alone cannot do it. But when there is no leadership, what happens? These are things that should be taught in the classrooms. Why don't we have it done? Look at our educational curriculum. To what effects, apart from chew and pour and get first classes, and we cannot even apply anything with those degrees. And I like what the leader of the Pentecostal Council said during the Thanksgiving service. Right. I think that is the way to go. It's not too late. Let's discongest one. Let's begin to sensitize our citizens about our duty of care to the state, our children. If we have lost it, our children should not lose it. Yesterday, I watched a video where a coconut seller was upon what has happened, was discharging the residues of the coconut onto the road that he was filling the road. And I like the way the gentleman dealt with him. So it means that we don't even understand what is happening. Look at Singapore. Look at Rwanda. You cannot just dump refuge anywhere.
Because it appears, Cotton, if you have read epistles online about our waste disposal management and how we're politicizing who carries our waste from where to where.
I was coming to that. The Zoom Lion Tabernacle. You see, how is it the case that we'll give our collection distance to just one single company? Monopoly.
Several contracts.
Monopoly is not good for any healthy democracy. We are in a free market economy. Let's try to build the capacity of other Ghanaians. Ghana is too big for Zoom Lion to clean from Accra to my hometown in Sabuba. It only gives ways for corruption. Look at when they went to Turkey and brought that collection point in. It was very beautiful. But at the point, because of corruption, the other government didn't take it on and also came along with its own model. How is it the case that we don't have a common plan as a country? When this government wins power, it comes and do its own thing. This government wins power and come and do its own thing. It means that we are simply planning to fail. Look, the rains are now gravitating from the south to the north. And in the next few weeks, yesterday there was heavy rain in the north. Yeah. So you understand? You see, Bagri Dam will be full very soon. And when they do a spillage, farmers within that eastern corridor will have all their farm produce submerged underwater.
Yeah.
And we come and talk about this. We've been talking about this. Nothing happened.
But the dynamics are different. For the north, that water is supposed to be collected and used for something. Irrigation, hydropower, something.
Exactly.
Because they don't build on the waterways around the boundary dam.
Be intentional in planning. Burkina Faso did their own dam to be able to generate their own hydroelectricity so that they no longer depend on us.
Okay.
Why can't you also build a dam in the northern region to harvest this water, which can be used for dual purposes, irrigation and hydroelectricity power? Then we'll be solving the DUSO problem. At the same time, addressing one of the critical security challenges facing us as a country, youth unemployment. We do these youth models on paper, Nkoko Nkiti and other things on paper, but in reality, the infrastructure is not there. So we should stop doing politics in this country. And for once, think that when there's a national emergency like we witnessed 4 or 5 days ago, it has no political color. Okay. We are all in it.
Right.
And I also think that
please conclude for me.
If you look at the Volta Lake and its distributors, if you study it carefully, they were designed for a purpose. But unfortunately, if you look at on paper, those proposals are there, we are not utilizing it. That is why we have other regions who otherwise were not getting flooded now. You remember last year when they opened the spillage in Akusumbu, the number of people who were. We should be intentional. We can look. If we want to make use of the Volta Lake and its distributors, we can cultivate agriculture all year round and be the breadbasket of West Africa, like we've done it in the past.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Kotin. Ross, devastating floods. You're on a very critical committee for the MPP, Local Government Decentralization Committee. The assemblies have been thrown in the fray as to handling of our waste, siting of illegal structures on waterways, among other things. These flood committees that have been put together from when this government took over, this administration took over, to now that we have this on our hands, that we have the Brigadier General Opon Yeboah going to lead that military team to ensure that this does not happen again or reduces.
Yes, Titi, good morning to you and your cherished viewers and
co-panelists here. I think this flood issue is more or less becoming a subject matter. I can't help but agree with my brother when he mentioned that next year, when this same occurrence happens, we shouldn't come and sit here to even discuss it. We should actually play back this show for the people of Ghana to listen. But the problem is that I have heard many commentaries on this flood issue, some saying that it is not an engineering problem, it is not an institutional problem, it's not an architectural systemic problem, and I beg to differ, you understand, because when people are allowed to build on waterways, for example, is that not an engineering problem, which we all know the consequences of building on waterways and all that. And there are institutions that grant building permits, for example, and if these institutions allow these people to build on waterways, then it becomes an institutional problem, because it becomes as if the institutions are not effective. I will not be oblivion of the fact that we have the laws, and he mentioned quite a number of laws when he was making his submission, that should guide us as a country to avoid some of these situations, because whether we like it or not, the rains will happen. Next year, the rains will come, and we cannot prevent it. But preventing flooding is something we can actually do something about. But it is becoming as if we come and sit here, and the narrative is that it's like we all know the problem that is we are being confronted with.
Right.
But what I don't want to agree is that sometimes they say let's take politics out of it. You cannot take politics out of this matter. even though we've been admonished to take politics out of this present issue because of the sensitive nature of it, you need that political power, that political will to ensure that the right thing is done. When you have a president who tells you that this is an act of God and that it looks like there is nothing that we can really do about it to contain the situation, it's quite worrying. You understand that we cannot do without. Titi, you don't agree? You didn't hear the president say so, that this is an act of God. This is about indiscipline of the Ghanaian, throwing of rubbish around and all that. Who is supposed to ensure that these things are not done in the first place? Haven't you seen quite a number of roads in your areas that are built with very narrow gutters, drains? That water, the least water that falls, the whole drains get submerged and it floods and gets into people's homes and all that. These are real problems that we are confronted with, that we should be able to confront it. And these are political decisions that must be taken. In 2015, when we had the June 3rd disaster, we all thought, and I, for example, thought that this occurrence will not happen again. When the NPP was in government, let me take you through some interventions that the NPP did. I mean, over the 8 years of the NPP, we dedicated about 500 million emergency flood relief for drainage repairs and desilting of flood-prone areas. Because in Ghana and in Accra, for 500 million Ghana cedis, 550 million Ghana cedis. Okay. You understand? We know the flood-prone zones in Greater Accra region, right, because when the flood happens, it's Greater Accra that is worst, hit. So we know the areas, and the NPP government dedicated this fund towards, the drainage repairs and ensuring that the flood-prone communities are catered for when a disaster of this nature. Between over the 8-year period, and it was quite a number of the interventions. For example, this garage project that is all over the place.
Which people they are punching holes into that they did not deliver.
But World Bank has exposed the current government that there is money sitting down that needs to be used to work in these areas, which the government is not using.
But in your administration, you used the money for.
We laid the roadmap, and of course, government is a continuum. So when one government is not in place and another government takes over, we expect that these projects will be continued. You understand? So the Garrett project was to move that the arrangement or that traditional approach of desilting gutters and clearing gutters after disaster to actually constructing drainage and ensuring that there is flood mitigation. Because you see, the problem is that when these rains come, the aftermath of it, after the rains have come, is what is the problem. It's not the rain itself. I mean, when you go outside the country, throughout this World Cup, it was raining throughout in some parts of the US. Did we see flooding?
Okay, so the problem we are confronted with, you are saying, appeared in 18 months. It's not an accumulation of what has happened.
Yes, because I feel that
had the money, you say, to be
exactly,
able to fix the situation.
They have failed to continue with the work that was done. And you see, that is why it is worrying, because you see, when you look at the situation critically, people are affected. People have lost their livelihoods. People are even dead. They've lost their lives. So it's very difficult to do the politics of it. But when you look at it critically, then you need that political will. That political decision must be taken to contain this flood matter, to arrest this issue. We cannot allow this thing to happen every year.
So Ross, you're saying that your administration had enough money to have
been able to... For example, Titi, we allocated $92 million for climate resilient drainage and flood mitigation infrastructure. This was to ensure that anytime these flood issues happen, people that are within a certain enclave are properly catered for, and we will not be seeing the devastating effect on these people that we saw. You understand?
Was enforcement of the law part where you prevented people from building on the water channels and the waterways, as the engineers have said? You had a dredger, acquired a dredger like the one in VRA Ada, the engineer mentioned, that will keep desilting the sand. Did that money go to do that? Because
of course, even the drift project. Currently, when I was on my way coming, I heard the
person you mentioned the name there, Opompe, is it?
Yes.
Yes. You mentioned that they are going to use some of the equipment from the drip project to desal some of the
because
that
you acquired the drip
of course,
in anticipation that this was going to happen.
We did not acquire it in anticipation that these were going to happen, but of course, these were part of the infrastructure we built to mitigate the problems that was confronting us, because this has happened since 1930s. He rightly mentioned.
Right.
How come we cannot contain it as a people? And you have somebody who became president of this country using it as a major political tool against the erstwhile administration.
People's houses have been flooded in your administration around the Wager Dam area.
Not to this magnitude.
Encroachments have been happening. And that's why I was asking of the enforcement. So for you, some aspect of the flood mitigation was done with the money that you allocated. That's what you're saying, including the acquisition of the drip machines that you anticipate will be used to do all this dredging, among other things.
And what I'm saying is that this government clearly had not followed the roadmap that was laid by the previous administration to contain the excesses of the flood. That is the point I'm making. Okay. And we need to speak to the government in the face.
All right.
And you know, we are confronted with two issues where you have two leaders. One leader decides to fly in the air to assess flood situation. Another leader decides to go on the ground to actually get in touch with the people and assess the realities on the ground.
Is it wrong engineering to fly and assess it from a bird's eye view?
When in America, when they were trying to take Osama bin Laden out, did you see what's his name, the previous American president, Obama flying? I mean, there are drones that can be used to assess situation. So the president flying in the air at that time used to assess situation. So the president flying in the air at that time, what solution is it bringing to us as a people? You see, we must be practical in nature. We must actually work towards solving this problem and stop this whole political spectacle that we are creating around it.
All right.
I live around an area where flooding is a major issue. I witnessed before my own eyes in the previous Mahama administration where a very close friend of mine lost 2 sons in this rain. I mean, this flooding issue. This current one, there was a picture that was going around, 2 siblings, one lying by the other. I mean, one about 3, 4, 5 months old. I couldn't help but to shed tears. We cannot do this to our very own people. We must solve this problem. And we must take this political spectacle out and stop this attitude of...
You did say we cannot do...
No, what I am saying is that...
we should do positive politics.
What I'm saying, please, Titi, listen to me carefully. We cannot stop blaming politicians for it. That is the point I'm making.
Okay.
We must blame politicians anytime this flood situation happens.
Right.
Politicians must be blamed. Who else should be blamed in this flood situation? When all these roadmaps have been set for you and you have failed to follow same.
All right.
Then what do you expect?
Thank you, Ross. Let me go to the Honorable Issa Batalia, who I haven't introduced on the show. He's the MP for Sisala East, and he's joined us at the table. Honorable, good morning to you. And, you know, Ross has thrown the baton to you because that he cannot leave politicians out of it.
The deputy minister.
My grandson, Chimnia. Yes.
You defeated your grandson.
That's my grandson.
It's a family.
I'm the grandfather, so I should be able to.
We can't leave family out of politics. Is that what it is now? I see.
The younger ones carry load for the elder load.
No, but I compete with him for women.
Titi, let me mention that before the Nambo man left.
Yes,
I wanted to ask this, but it looks like the conversation was dragging.
Okay.
You know the field that engulfed this country after this flood? Driving through the principal streets of Accra, I can still see the field, some of the field around certain areas.
Yes, people are bringing their field out.
And the field go back into the gutters, and it creates another problem.
I saw
who is to ensure that these things are cleared.
And when I asked, yes, it's your time. Ross, Lawyer Usu, thank you. I even see some in one area. When I asked, they said the MP says they should all bring out all the filth, and that they will come and collect it. But Honorable Batalia, Ross has said that they have the money, 550 million. They used it right. The World Bank has given a breakdown of the monies that this Garrett project has accrued for your administration. I'm seeing here that lots of money is gathered for the sanitation levy as well. This one says from 2021-2024, the levy generated 1.7 billion in total. I'll come back to Ross for him to tell us where that money went to, aside from that 550, because the sanitation levy was collected during their time. But it's still here. We are still collecting the sanitation levy. So, Honorable, tell us.
Don't let Ross create that kind of sentiments in you. Let me say a very good morning to you and our wonderful panelists here. I also want to extend the same morning greeting to the people of Sisala East, and by extension, our brothers and sisters who are affected by this flooding issue. I think that this morning, having sat here and listened to lawyer Kutin and then Reverend the engineer, I think that it presented a very fine opportunity for us to have a discourse that is quote unquote nationalistic. But you know, sometimes we politicians, we create problems for ourselves. The tangent my brother Ross went or took rather put us on the pedestal to talk politics instead of looking at the issues. To the extent that the morning conversation started with biblical quotations. No, means a lot. To me, coming here, I made a simple statement by saying that this is just us as humans arguing against nature at our own peril. That's how I coined it. But the way you chose to go about it, if you are talking about money, holistically, we have Gamma, we have Garrett. Right from 2013 to 2024, the total amount we got to deal with this situation is $655 million.
Dollars.
2024 to now.
2023. 2013, the Gamma money we have got. Yes, okay. It was 150 million. Out of the 150, the total money, 655 million. $505 million came under their administration.
550 million.
505 million because the total money is 655.
Dollars, not cedis.
$15 million.
Yes.
So $505 million came under the.
Under you.
Okay.
And you see, sometimes when you open up this discussion, we are here, and we are yet to see somebody countering what Franklin Kujo wrote. That at every $10 given to do this project, only $1 went to the actual project. $9 went to other issues, other than just the flood mitigation issue. And we are here talking what? Nobody came to counter it because they said, even let's say with the Garrett, the Garrett 200 million that came, you said the first, you said 137 million came. That was resist. No, I'm not talking about you. The data is there before what you are mentioning. Okay. The 200 million is not everything that came to you. The actual releases, he even pegged it at $103 million. But you said per your report, per World Bank report, that 137 million came. Out of that 137 million, we are told because of emergency issues, the fear of unknown, talking about COVID, we spent 65 million to deal with COVID-related issues. Out of 65 million, you can only account 60.8 million, $4.2 million you cannot account up to date. In that same report you are talking about, you spend over 22 million to deal with training.
22 million what? Dollars for training.
To train people.
On what?
On how to deal with
COVID.
No, not COVID. Flood-related issues.
And we train them, and what happened to them?
No, I want to expect that we spend, and consultancy alone took about $7 million. $1.6 million went into buying vehicles.
Well, vehicles are needed to talk flood-prone areas.
Where are the vehicles now?
They've not been handed
over.
Where
are the trained people now? When we have families jumping to save people.
They've not been handed over to your administration.
No, you see, he said they set up the roadmap. That's what I'm talking to you. So sometimes when you open up these conversations like this, you have to expose yourself very badly. And that's what I'm telling you.
The political persecutions going on, you have not done anything about it.
You see, that's
and you come to sit here.
Honorable,
who is lamenting? You are lamenting.
That 22 million went into training.
Yes.
Who were the trained
I said
people?
the report is there for you to see.
Yes, so are we investigating
So now the conversation has moved from what, because he's a Ghanaian and he's supposed to be a patriotic Ghanaian that will train patriotic people to deal with our challenges.
Right.
Not for them to train people for us to come and be chasing and locking up. You get what I'm talking about? You get what I'm talking. So you are saying you brought up conversations.
I don't get what you are talking about.
You are really getting what I'm talking, because you are saying that if that really happened, did you use 22 million to train people?
And what have you done about it as a government?
Okay.
If indeed what you are saying is the truth.
I'm telling you, this is a report that came out. You brought up figures, and I'm telling you
about what the money was used
badly.
for. Okay.
It's not too badly, but you know, like, let me even talk. He talked about president flying around. You see, sometimes let's not make a joke of this. For instance, he applauds somebody who went walking in the mud, supported by two strong body. That cannot even help himself to walk in the mud. Is that a real solution?
Yeah, of course.
That's a joke. You were here in this country. Spillage, something that we know. We spill at Akosombo that affected the whole community. What the president told us. Sometimes we forget too easily. Weja. We are here, Bagri Dam. You talk about Bagri Dam. That's somewhere far north in the. They will tell you and spill. That brought about the conversion of what? Palugu. That we could not pay the $12 million. What are you saying? So in terms of making this country progress in relation to some of these things, you are badly exposed. So don't even come and sit here, Ross, and make this conversation. I am coming there. I am coming there now. No, I am coming there now. So that's why we talk to data. No, listen to me. Let me tell you why we should talk to data.
When both of you talk about political Ross, allow Honorable Batalia make his point.
When you are here, you should talk to data. Matiti, history tells us that. Even let me just go back, dating back here, like a lawyer said, flood started even somewhere in the 1930s. We have 1954s and those things. But as of 1960, go check the population of Accra, Greater Accra. The population of Greater Accra is 541,000. As of by 2000, the population of Accra went up to 2.9 million.
Right.
Today, as we are talking 2026, the population of Accra is up to 6.28 billion people.
Right.
Under a land space of what? 3,248.
So we need the congestion.
Yeah,
you get it?
That's what
when you
says.
compare that to Kumasi, a greater Ashanti. Ashanti covers a land space of what? 24,300 and what? And they say below sea level. Towards the north, we have the Aquapim rate. Normally, when it's raised by natural cause, in 1960 we have only about 541 people living here. When it rains, it means that we have a lot of spaces that water can move on. Today, most of those places are being occupied by human beings, concretized. Today, we've reduced the otherwise streams or rivers into drains that we are talking about today.
And you don't agree to the sentiments that in opposition, the president said that this was the situation. You identified it. And something drastic needed to have been done. And so by February 2025, bulldozers were going to be pulling down these concretized buildings.
So didn't you see actions of taking Atlanta site? Didn't you see that? No, didn't you see that?
Okay.
They were quite select.
That has made the point for select. I haven't seen the evidence of the selected, disgruntled people
let me make this
may have coloring.
Where they demolished a house on the waterway and left a particular house.
Same waterway.
People were asking
the same way.
Why didn't you demolish this one?
Did they see evidence that there was also earmarked to be on the waterway?
No, Cotton.
Where's the waterway?
But the experts must tell us.
I think this is my time. Let me make this point.
Please.
This is my time. Let me make this point.
Honorable, go ahead.
Your point was not even in relation to current happiness. You gave example of Sangrila Hotel, not today. And I'm telling you that currently, even in Weja, my colleague is suffering same because he pulled down somebody who is a staunch NDC person's house. Staunch. They rent cases and poured drinks on him. So it's happening. Like I said, those individual factors will happen. Today, we have even people, we have mosques and churches who block waterways and build churches. It's not happening. Don't we have people reducing drains to what? They culvert holes and building on top? And I told you that those who are supposed to be powerful in terms of money, that will solve our problem. They are causing much of a problem. And I made this point here. For instance, if I have a shop around Odo, and my boys will sweep every morning and go and dump it at the drain, without me raising an alarm as an individual or citizen, tomorrow when the water comes entering my shop, I should know that I've been part of the issue.
Right.
And I'm telling you that if you are giving $10 to solve the problem and you spend $9 out of the $10 to do something other than just solving the problem, you are a contributing factor.
Okay. And in the 18 months that you've been in office, the monies that you have gotten have been used for its intended purposes, so much so that...
In that same 18 months, you remember the president said that, yes, what they received, what he saw, Ghana has been reduced into a crime scene. And every facet went through what? Auditing. For that as forensic auditing. That brought about what the prudence, to the extent that even the finance minister said that before you will even undertake a project as a ministry, you have to come for commitment authorization to make sure that we bring our prudence. That's what is happening. And I am telling you that even with that comparison, they also said within the same period, he's talking about it, they in their total stay there, they spent about $11 million. As at now, the NDC spent, or the Mohammed government spent about $13 million. If you want to talk about
was there an audit of what our flat system looked like? That's when the president constituted that
No, you are talking about relief. I'm not talking about relief.
Yes, I'm talking about proactiveness to have prevented June 29. Was because the president constituted that team led by Mr. Standogbe, I believe.
Exactly.
Because he identified that I'm asking.
That's the point. Exactly the same which should be because to see that some other places have been pulled down, it means that it was per their recommendations because it's part of their mandate. But we are looking at a holistic, not just looking at Accra alone, we are looking at a holistic system in this country. So that when it rains now, people shouldn't be dying in Cape Coast. When it rains, to me wouldn't be flooded where I come from. That's what they are looking at. So the point is not about somebody has done something bad. What I say, when you can, you look at it.
Hold on.
I don't understand. Yes, I don't understand your conversation.
Okay. Kindly permit me to ask my brother.
Okay. Which I'll do a follow-up.
Given the World Bank report, that due to regulation issue at the Ministry of Finance, there were some monies that were supposed to be released to mitigate some of this, and the finance minister didn't release such money. Is it true?
Yes.
No, the point is that
I think it's very important.
No, the point
is that true?
If you say, I will say yes, because it is one thing releasing money. No, let me make this point. Let me make this point. Monies were released, but people were still dying.
Oh no!
I'm saying that because I made a point here. I made a point here saying that reports indicated that out of every $10 released previously, only $1 went into that.
Look, Franklin is an individual who have done his own assessment. He's not the final authority.
Exactly.
That's why I asked if there was
I didn't talk about that.
So if Emmanuel Pote has written something, it should become the honest truth.
No, it's not about honest truth. Emmanuel Pote, you have integrity. When you make a statement, that's why you come on national. They don't call you here just to come and say things that do not reflect. When they call you here, I followed you. Whatever you say, let me say.
I was concerned about the aspect of where the finance minister, the World Bank alleged. I'm saying alleged now. A government have not come out to say each side of the story. So I'll not be fair to say that. So that's why I'm advising using the word alleged.
Okay.
Because we need to plan and mitigate things and save lives. If we say because of regulatory functions and you want to audit whatever, are you going to use 18 months to audit?
No, you can. It depends on the gravity of the situation. No. Let's look at.
We are creating
cotton. No, it's not. Rather, it's not. It's a ministry we are talking. It's not an individual. It's an individual occupying a ministry. Let me make this point.
Let me add that in 2022, Ramsar side buildings came down. They pulled them down in the FR administration. You are pulling cooling down, the engineers are telling you that there are other effective ways
Yes,
of dealing with this. Putting a dredger on the Odo, the upstream, downstream
This is a new conversation. Let me tell you that at one point in time, talking about the sea, the challenge we face with some other parts of this country where the sea is eating into communities, and the focus has been defense. You get it? So don't let us let them happen. No, people were doing things to protect other communities. And I know Jifa Gomashi, she has always cried on national television as what is happening to her. We've seen communities who even are displaced completely. Right. The government those days did a lot to be able to build defense. So don't make it look as if it's just for Accra. Right. And I'm telling you, let me make this last point.
I'll give you a minute because we would have to wrap up this topic.
What we are seeing today is a cumulative effect of the volumes of water we had in the month of June. That is the highest ever. Per data, we can only have about 160 to 230 in a month. But this particular month, June, we had 590 milliliters.
But that was forecast.
Okay.
I am telling you,
the point was made earlier on that it was forecast
The point is that even do you know last year in New York, it flooded.
What was the effect of the flood? What was the effect of the flood?
The effect because
that's fine. I'll give you a minute. Wrap up this.
That kind of conversation, let's put it aside.
All right. Okay. Batalia.
All right. So, Titi, you are giving me
I'm giving you 1 minute, and I asked as well about the sanitation levy and what you used it for.
Hold on, Titi. I think,
Honorable, I appreciate your struggle this morning.
It's not about struggle.
But you see, we can all agree on this table that for this one, we will let it slide. But with everything you are telling us today, should give us the assurance that next year, we are not going to see the effects of flood.
Ross, you pulled down buildings in 2020. Honorable, please allow me. Honorable, 2022, you pulled down buildings at Ramsar. Ross, you pulled down buildings at Ramsar in 2022. You said you've dredged the door. You used the 550 million for its intended purpose. But this is happening. And we are told that it's not just in 18 months. I'll go back to the engineer.
And we are telling you that preventing flood is not a one-time event. It is a continuum.
Right.
So if the government has done a certain work, and you come and you fail to do something to continue it, then of course we will see what we are seeing today. But what I'm saying is that, Honorable, granted, government is working. We agree.
Okay.
But you have to give the people of Ghana the assurance that we are not going to see the effects of flood to this magnitude next year.
Ross, give us recommendations. How many times did you dredge the Odo in a year?
2020. I'm telling you, if you give me the time, I can actually tell you
a year how many times the Odo was dredged so that we did not see a flood like this in June 29.
No, if we were not doing it, you would have seen the effect of flood to this magnitude. In the 8 years, the NLP was in government. I mean, the fact that in the 8 years the NLP was in government. I mean, the fact that
I don't agree with you on this.
What is simplistic about it?
I remember, and we play politics with it. When engineers and planners decided to do it.
No, even politics issue here in this country.
So I think we agree that you cannot take politics and you cannot not add politics.
The politics that we put in this conversation shouldn't be the type of politics that will make the conversation that will lead to solutions be drowned.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because that's what you did. Caught up in this whirlwind.
That's what you did.
The question I need to ask myself is that after pulling down those structures at Ramsar site, would we not see them spring up?
Exactly.
2022.
Yeah. We did
pull them down.
Even far before that.
Then it was the regional minister who led I was even asking myself, why should it even be the regional minister if the assemblies were working? Because they are the ones that are even closer. I mean, the regional minister is in Accra. Ramsar site, we know where it is. They sprang up. They have been pulled down again. The way I know how we act as Ghanaians, I wouldn't be surprised that after the floods, they will spring up again. That is one. Two, we have also preferred solutions. For example, the president has said that maybe the time has come for us to either relocate the capital or take, some of these. This is not a novelty. I mean, in terms of suggestion.
Right.
These things have been said over and over again. That is why I said maybe after all these many ministries and agencies, we also need an agency for political will that will ensure. Because for me, now the demon in Ghanaians that also causes us to throw refuse. I mean, have we been able to exercise that demon? I say no.
Bring back the tankers.
Have we built
the sanitation?
Have we built a new Ghanaian? Have we built a new Ghanaian whose attitude, or have we built the systems that makes it difficult or impossible for the Ghanaian to do that? Look, we're talking about Rwanda. I have been to Rwanda. Over there, they let you know that if you do it, the whips will be cracked. Right. So you will not do it.
It doesn't matter who is.
I have been to Singapore.
But the thing is, do they have ice?
I have been, yes. Okay. Because in Rwanda, we are going to talk about security. When I got there, I was told, I stayed there for I think 2 weeks at Kimorongo. Okay. I was told that when you step out as a foreigner, the people will call and report to the community leaders that we've seen this person moving about. Wow. Yes. They do it.
Okay. It's a very Western culture thing.
Yes, they do it. Okay. This is not building a Boeing.
All right.
This is something that we could also do.
I have to go.
Give full examples of
I'll give you your 1 minute.
This conclusion, lawyer, by saying that the Rwandans went through a particular system that sat and reflected on it and told themselves never again. Okay. Ask yourself this question: whether we Ghana will go through that state?
Have we not June 3rd, June 29th?
Let me say this. Okay. It isn't the people of Rwanda that are good. Okay. The system will not allow you to misbehave.
That's what I'm saying.
In Singapore, so all over the world, people are naturally not good.
So people don't call higher ups to release people from...
If you do and you will be punished, you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it.
And so, my final bite on this matter is this. Look, we are talking about a disaster.
Yes.
People who are affected had no color. We are all the common people. I think to politicize a disaster would be amounting to running away from our inefficiencies and as a country how we can rally and get common solutions. This issue should not be a banter between party A or party B.
That's why
it's a leadership failure, like I have said. And I think that as citizens too, we are also to be blamed. Every day we see people dumping refuge into the gutters, and we walk by, we don't care. We walk and we see someone dropping plastics on the floor after taking the water. We don't care. We think that the state is the government. We are the state. We are the government. So I also believe that the district assembly should be taken to the cleaners. Because they contribute to 60 or 70% of the problems we are talking about. So let's build our institutions than building strong men, as we always try to portray. This person did better than that person. It should never be reduced to this kind of unhealthy.
When I started my
people
presentation,
lost their lives. We have to be very mindful. It could be any of us. So let's be sensitive.
You see, when I started my presentation, I made a clear distinction between the usual NPP NDC politics and the political will That is the political will I was talking about, not NPP, NDC.
I must add that in this regard, I saw an article about the EPA banning the takeaway packs as well. When we talk about plastics and disposing of it, yes, by 2027, styrofoam products, some of them, hopefully weaning them off the system. If you do not have it, where would you litter it? Hopefully by 2027. Yes, by January 2027.
Why not now?
Let me go to... Let me go to the engineer. Engineer, let me take your final words on this. I want you to clarify what we are going through right now. Is it something that happened in 18 months? Could it be something that happened in 18 months, or it's been accrued looking at our whole drainage system, our population rise in Accra? You've mentioned how the land is.
Thank you very much. I'll say that, first of all, what we are going through is not an 18-month issue. Accra is messed up, and we engineers, we call it an engineer's nightmare. Solving the problem in Accra is very, very complicated, and it's very expensive to the citizens because you will have to demolish a lot of infrastructure and give way to the rainfall and then the rivers. So it is a messed up situation, and I think that the solutions are multifaceted. And unfortunately for us, climate change will continue to make it worse. Urbanization will continue to deepen the situation. So what we are witnessing, we should brace ourselves for worse things. But will we sit down and allow it to continue? I will propose short-term, medium-term, and long-term solutions. In the short term, I'll say that because of the complex nature of Accra, the president has to put up an interministerial committee that will work to make Accra resilient. An interministerial committee to make Accra resilient. This committee must work with a think tank that will bring together engineers, planners, the security, and all others that are needed to be able to propose. GHIU have come up with the solutions for the Accra flooding, but who will take it up? So the interministerial committee will bring together these think tanks and ideas so that, for example, we'll be able to put in place preparatory measures before the rain starts, where the necessary dredgings and the rest will have taken place. The interministerial committee will bring interior, it will bring works and housing, it will bring finance, it will bring security, it will bring the local government, so that they will have a voice right at cabinet. These are the things we have prepared before the rains. The support will be given, and World Bank will not come back later to say that we gave money but it was not released. The president will know that he has tasked a committee to do that. The committee has a technical committee under it that are providing them the information. Then the interministerial committee will take it to the cabinet for things to be done well. In this committee, proposals that have been made by the engineers and planners and the rest will be tabled. Okay, then in the medium term, we need to re-engineer our roads so that the roads can also absorb the rainfall, especially not the highways. We can engineer our roads so that when it rains, okay, our roads can also be infiltrating some of the water into the soil, because the place has become too impervious. Because the rains will come to the roads, we can be able to allow the roads to also seep. That is what you see in London and the rest. That is why we are not seeing flooding. Okay, and then you put in hydraulic measures to be able to keep your water levels. Those are the medium term, because we have overdeveloped Accra. So if you want to continue demolition, it is crazy and it is a little bit inhuman. We have messed up totally. Okay, then we should begin to look at developing Accra vertically, and then decongest the drainage areas. Okay, the government must strategically put in place a plan. I would say that Ghana, we should not go with manifestos. It doesn't help us. let us have a national development agenda. And if you are coming in as a government, the roadmap is there. This is how we want Accra to be. So somebody starts, if you are not doing well and the people change you, you come and continue. But if you come and read this manifesto, you throw one away, you come back to one, we will never move forward. So let's drop manifesto things and have a national development agenda and go by it. Every political party that comes to power will go by it. And that is why then think tanks become useful in the country. But we don't have an NDPC, it's a think tank, but none of their proposals are being executed. We are just running around in cycles. The last thing in the long term I'll say is that the capital city must be moved from Accra, because it is a flat land, it is a coastal land, okay, and we have overdeveloped it and messed it up. And in proposing another capital city, we should never go to the coast because of the lessons in Accra. I would think somewhere around Atebubu, Kwame Danso area, okay, where you can use the Volta River to supply water, and it is less developed, so you can plan it well, okay, and put in the laws to keep it. But to go out, I have heard the president talking about a new capital that will bring together Eastern Region, Volta Region, Greater. It should not be so. It will be messed up again because we are unable to discipline ourselves to live in a coastal area. So we must look at a place around Atebubu, Kwame Danso area, which is less developed, but yet we can plan it like they've done for Abuja. The Buno East area looks very congenial for us, and so that we can look at a very modern city, because Accra has been messed up, and it is an engineer's nightmare.
Engineer,
that is very difficult to put up.
Engineer, if you can hear me, let me throw this in. Is it good to build high-rise buildings? We've also heard that could also help the situation. Affordable housing, high-rise buildings. Like we said, we'll transform Nima and Mamobi into, world-class high-rise buildings and cities.
That is what we should have actually done in Accra, so that we would have reserved the areas for the flooding. Okay, but we didn't do it.
Okay.
So it's one of the things we should do. Okay, and I think it will be helpful.
Thank you.
Please tell Engineer that whenever he has the opportunity, he should emphasize on the fact that the capital should be moved to Atebubu. He shouldn't go further. Atebubu.
He has said it. Atebubu is the destination. I just hope that our roads and our transport network.
Chinese experience, right? Chinese population, because of vertical building, they're able to get accommodation.
Absolutely, and engineers made all these very beautiful recommendations. Is left to Honorable Batalia, Ross Esquire, and whoever is gunning, to rule Ghana now and in the future, to be able to implement so that the Ghanaian is better off. Lives have been lost in this devastating flooding. An engineer has said that climate change is no respecter of persons. It will come, it will go, the rains will come. If these measures are put in place, the political will, the think tank institutions, hydraulics authority, engineers working together, we will be able to see some change, because it is done elsewhere in the world. Engineer Ofosu Entry, Professor Eric Ofosu Entry is Associate Professor, Civil Engineering Department, University of Energy and Natural Resources. Thank you so much, sir, for your time and your expertise this morning on the show. We're really grateful. We're going to take a short break. When we're back, we have xenophobia to talk about, we have security and terrorism and extremism. You're welcome back to the show, gentlemen. Thank you. You're welcome back to the show. This is Current Agenda. We're live everywhere on GTV Ghana and on social media. Yeah, you can watch us there digitally. DSTV channel 278, radio stations across the country, GBC Radio, wherever you find yourself. In Tamale, you'll be listening to us on Radio Savannah. Send us your WhatsApp messages on the flooding conversation we've had so far. The number is on your screen. I'll read your messages this morning. We're zooming into the conversation about the xenophobia in South Africa. We got reports that one Ghanaian had lost their life. We're still getting mixed reports because some are saying it's not true, some are saying it's true. Hopefully, we'll get clear information from our foreign affairs authorities very soon on this. But we're asking the questions if the Africa Bloc, the communities or the bodies have done enough. Some have said that we should bring back our ambassador to Ghana, recall him, shut down the embassy, South Africa embassy in Ghana. Cutting too drastic or the way to go?
Well, thank you very much once again. In fact, I've been very consistent on this matter. The South African president, Ramaphosa, is a direct beneficiary of African benevolence. During apartheid, Ramaphosa was in Ghana here. What is happening in South Africa appears to be government sponsored. Because all indications points to the fact that the government may be interested and is aware of what is happening. Because you can't tell me, given the weight of government and security, just two individuals will lead demonstration and to escalate to this level. I think that quiet diplomacy has not worked for us. It is time for us to escalate it and kiss goodbye to the South African High Commissioner to Ghana. If you look at the ECOWAS and the AU and the SADA, these regional blocs, they've been so silent, and their silence kind of communicates some form of complicity. Let's go back to history, right? During apartheid, if not for African benevolence, Mandela and co wouldn't have been able to do what they did. If you look at the economy of South Africa at the time, it was the best performing. The white minority, they control the land, the commerce and business sector, education or good education was forbidden for the majority blacks. Have you asked yourself why South Africans have multilateral companies across most African countries? They were the foundation of finance for apartheid. And the South Africa GDP in part is what it is because of the inflows of money they get from other African countries. Just take MTN alone in Ghana. The amount of money MTN makes, where do they repatriate their profit to? Is it not to South Africa? Look at Nigeria. That's what globalization has taught us, that countries are interconnected for a purpose. But what is happening currently in South Africa is showing us that we cannot let the stupidity, excuse me, my friends, for lack of better words, the stupidity of two individuals, that lady and that gentleman, that the government is in bed with, to affect our relationship with our other regional bodies. Because they pay the courtesy call or Ramaphosa, they are in bed with him. If I'm the president of Ghana, and people are doing things that are inimical to the overall regional integration of our unity, why will I entertain them? Why will I entertain them? Are you telling me that if I should start a demonstration in this country, that all foreigners to leave Ghana will not be stopped? I will not be stopped. Who am I? What legion of authority do I have? And the Ghanaian who lost his life, I've cross-checked, it's true. It's true. But the South African government is trying to deny that it's unrelated. That during the anti-immigrant demonstration, some of them went looting, some of them were caught undocumented. when we sounded alarm caution to our citizens to stay indoors.
Right.
And common sense will even tell us that the target they are coming to defend it means that they are complicit in it. On what basis is the South African government telling us that this death is not related to the anti-immigration demo, but it was due to criminal action? I think that we have talked and exhausted a lot of time on this matter. We do need to belabor the point. It is time for Ghana to act now. And I'm calling on His Excellency, the President of the Republic, that Yabu Benchi say Papa Nefia, Bonisu Nefia. We should
translate it.
Yes. Your Saboba people are watching.
Good is nothing, bad is also nothing. Okay. You understand?
Right.
So let's do well and send a positive signal.
All right.
How long are we going to be losing lives before we act? And don't forget, a lot of Africans, not only Ghanaians, have lost businesses in South Africa.
Okay.
And when they left the businesses, you get what? The South Africans are not able to run it. It's lying for you. This stupidity must be stopped.
All right.
And I think Africa must come together. And I like what Professor Lumumba said. Africa must come together and send a strong message to South Africa that it doesn't live in an island and it cannot survive on its own.
All right.
And look, I hear Professor Danso saying that, Vladimir Danso saying that the way to go is not to retaliate. I agree with him. But the point it has reached now, I think we should start retaliation. MTN should go.
We should kick out the...
We should kick out. Why are they taking our taxpayers' money to their profit? Where do they take to? Is it not South Africa? They say they can do it on their own. Go fuel, right? Look, if you look on
can
paper,
you manage on your own if they leave?
The mines you try.
And the telco.
What are you talking about? Technology advance now. The world is now a global village. It's not a matter of we trying. We must start somewhere.
Okay.
It is not enough force that we are compelled to do this.
Thank you.
It's because of their actions.
All right.
And we have appealed to government on several fronts. Government seems not to listen. Okay. So are we going to sit down and allow our people to die? Nigeria started, right? They kicked out MTN.
Okay.
Nigeria demonstrated. They looted ShopRite.
All right. Looting, I don't think should be encouraged. Though. Lawyer Kodia.
Yes, I'm going to agree with Putin, not because we are sitting closer to each other and we've been whispering to each other.
Yeah, no. Okay.
A government, citizens send a signal that on a certain date they are going to drive away a group of people. The signal was sent, I think, about is it a month ago?
June 30.
And the government sits down, and whatever threats they issued are now being carried out. How can you convince me that government is not in bed with those people? Government is in bed and complicit in whatever it is that they
have
are
a right
doing.
to demonstrate or not? Is it
they have a right to demonstrate, but within the context of the law. You don't go about attacking people
and destroying
people's property under the cloak of... Let me tell you, anytime I see anything in South Africa, I skip it.
Yeah.
Conferences and courses, I skip it.
Last week I refused a conference in South Africa. The letter I wrote them, I wouldn't attend.
Exactly.
Well, that's your
a friend of mine was telling me that there is this annual labor conference that is had in South Africa, and it overflows. I mean, in terms of attendance.
Okay.
This year, he says that when they went, I think about 150 people went.
Wow.
That is what is being created in the minds of the average African.
Has even affected their sports, the World
Exactly.
Cup, the players compete.
We were happy.
Yeah.
We even wanted them to leave earlier. You know, why should that happen?
Okay.
And so I think that the recommendation is that the government should stop these attacks.
Okay.
The state has the machinery.
How about us as a government or as a country? What should we do? They've airlifted them, stay in your rooms. Should our High Commissioner be back? Close the High Commission in South Africa?
And then what happens? I think collectively as Africa, we should have a forum to discuss how to relate. For me, I think the problem can be solved by the South African government. And if it doesn't, maybe other things will follow. It should know. For example, if I were president of Ghana and you are the South African president and you want to pay visit, I doubt I would detain you in my country. Okay. And I believe that other countries may also not do the same.
Right.
And it's going to hurt South Africa more than the people that they are attacking.
Exactly. Ross, who will South Africa listen to at this point? And maybe this time you can lend us your legal brain as to what can be done to reduce these.
Yes, Motiti, I think what is happening in South Africa is very shameful, to say the least. And they are gradually telling the whole of the Africa and the world that they do not have humanity in them. Some of the footages that I have seen, I mean, sometimes when you see some of the footages, you are left with nothing but to shed tears. That, there's a song, Man to Man is so unjust. Right. That you can look at your fellow human being and hit the person with anything you find in the head, in a place that can easily kill the person. And we are seeing these things happen right before our very eyes. What is more worrying is that during the apartheid, Africa and the rest of the world stood with South Africa. And Ghana played a very crucial role. I listened to President Rawlings one time when he mentioned that Ghana even had the occasion to give South Africa $1 million after apartheid to rebuild. You understand? So it is so unfair. It is so unfair that they visit these atrocities, this inhumane act on the people of Ghana and Nigeria and some parts of Africa. It's so unfair.
Well, you think they're targeting Ghana? It's like all immigrants. As far as you don't have.
No, but I think Nigeria and Ghana is the worst affected in this whole melee. And what I think, and I don't agree with my two colleagues when they say that we should retaliate. Retaliation is not the way to go. In fact, when you do international law, they will tell you that retaliation should be the last resort. I mean, you do not resort to retaliation when situations of this nature arise. I think what we should do as a country is to try to build our country and give hope to our people.
That's a long-term measure, Ross.
But it's a long-term.
That sounds like a long-term measure.
Hold on. What I'm saying, we need to start. Hold on. We need to start. Please, it's my time. Please, are able to give me a short time?
Ross, please go ahead.
Yes, we need to give hope to our people so that the issue of migration, whatever you do, people will still go to other countries to seek greener pastures. But the rate at which Ghanaians in Africa, here is Ghana, Nigeria, we are the two countries that traveled a lot out of our countries. And the rate at which Ghanaians, able-bodied men and women are leaving this country is very dangerous to even the development of our country. Let's give hope to our people and let the people remain. Once they know that they can live in Ghana and they can make a living, I'm sure that they will stay, and some of these excesses or the things happening in South Africa we will not be hearing. Okay. I don't want to believe that the government has given a tacit approval. The government may not have done so well, the South African government may not have done so well in trying to curb the excesses of these xenophobic attacks. But remember that the government of the day also have elections to yes, exactly. And some of these things can cost you politically. So they would have to manage it well. In terms of, to you Ghanaian,
you sacrifice them.
To us Ghanaians, we feel that Ramaphosa should take a very tough decision on this xenophobia. But that will come at a political cost to him. And that will be the reason why he cannot take that action.
Well,
you understand?
As an African body,
the conversation we should be having is that African Union, I'm surprised that African Union, we are not hearing much
about the sub-regional bodies, ECOWAS, African Union. We are not hearing much. I mean, it's very worrying that they are quiet about these issues, and these heinous crimes and atrocities are being perpetrated to our fellow compatriots. It's very, very sad. And I hope in the coming days, in fact, with what happened even at the World Cup, South Africa, Mexico, when the whole of Africa was against South Africa, should have told them something. That the way, the angle they are going, they have to pull the brakes from now. And it's very shameful, I must say.
Let's give hope to our people. I'm seeing
when their team arrived, it was these two ladies and gentlemen who organized people to welcome the
because
team.
of what they knew they had done.
Who is in control? Who is in charge?
Who is in charge?
The people.
You can't have
and it's interesting because the government is by the people. So really, so if you say they are in bed, maybe that's when it sounds like, because they put him in power, and as Ross is saying, he will come back to them for the power.
Exactly.
So I'm seeing that Nigeria serves as the financial backbone, just like as Ghana is, of the anti-apartheid movement, contributed over $61 billion cumulatively through aid, nationalized assets, and lost oil revenues to that liberation struggle. So the worst affected were the ones who also, you know, put the cart to the horse during the apartheid. Honorable Basale, I'll give you your minute on this, or your time on this, and then we'll just move on.
My time on this, no, my minute. But I think that the sentiment on this table is clear. But I think there's an unfortunate happening. I was just even trying to point out that Nigeria, even at one point in time, between 1948 and then in 1994, enacted laws that made them to contribute to support. And the African continent helped in diverse ways. Some other countries provided sanctuary for their leaders who were in that struggle to come. Others gave them diplomatic leverages.
These were decisions made on behalf of the citizens of these countries.
I made this point here sometime at a place that even those Africans during apartheid were at the front liners of the apartheid. The actual fighters of the African apartheid were Africans who supported them in diverse ways. So what is happening today, what we are seeing now, even though there have been series of it, I also made this point, you know, it was happening to Mozambicans and other people, the Zimbabweans, where people are pushed out of the train, in a moving train, and a lot of people died at a point. They even said that at a point 18 people died at once because they lose rioting. That is condemnable at all levels. Trust me, I also do agree that looking at what is happening, you are most likely to say that no, we should retaliate in similar manner. But I want to go in on this particular issue, go with Ross that I think that yes, it's true that it is a no-no. It's something that shouldn't have been happening. But you know, somebody said the way the Kenyan will react, the way the Jamaican will react is different from the way Ghanaians will react. I, as a member of Trade Committee, I went to Abosokai to represent the parliament. And the sentiments out there regarding foreigners who are dealing into retailing, which is against our laws, clearly bad. But the way the Ghanaian will go about it will not be the same as the way the African is going about it. And I think that Ghana has always been a symbol of that kind of peace and unity. And trust me, it's so unfortunate that even if you go to South Africa, they themselves, they are diverse to the extent they felt that their nation should be named as the Rainbow Nation. That would talk about unity and inclusivity. Today they are thinking that the black man shouldn't be part. And I gave an example. When we were in South Africa, I went to see Mandela's house and what happened there. And when they indicated locals 100 rand, then foreigners 200. I moved 200. When I got to the gate, the man said, no, once I am an African, I'm described as a local. So you see, it's a contradiction seeing them, the same people, sacking out people and telling them that we are taking their jobs. So somebody who says xenophobia is basically nothing but one, an irrational fear of a stranger, thinking it's taking it. That's what it is. And consistently, this gentleman is becoming a hero in that place. But I also try to side a bit with Ross on this. The less if you are wearing a political, you can see that Ramaphosa's hand is so tight. To the extent that when elections are getting closer, there might be some messages. You tell the people that you are in there for them. And the only way you can protect them is to make sure that they develop themselves. And when that happens, you cannot fight it clearly. To the extent that even their government is trying to come there, now we are having contrary distance. When we said that the incident happened at a particular place on a particular date, they brought a report that said that no, where we said it has happened is not true, the date is not true. They are talking about 29th. We are talking about 30th. So you see, they are bantering with us in terms of even the happening, trying to disassociate what happened to the rioting, or let me say the demo that is taking place there. But clearly you can see that people have taken advantage to once again met out what that kind of harm to the Ghanaian, and that shouldn't be allowed. And as government as we are, well, I remember when we started evacuating first, this Malema came blaming Ghana, that Ghana is further strengthening the gentleman who is foolishly going around making noise by evacuating our people. We should allow them to be there. This is not the way people should go. And you see, that's the point. So, but I think that we should go beyond just bilateral talks. It should begin to talk about the African continent. We should begin to look at this. And it's been one too many that we have to stop it, nip this in the bud.
Especially at a time where the president and your administration is talking about reparations for the sins, the grievous sins against humanity. But also made the point as well that let's give hope to Ghanaians, and you know that people go for greener pastures, and that's why they end up.
Of course, you know that's a very fantastic statement. I think that's the resource we have. Whatever you do, make your country better. But like I said, no matter what it is,
it wouldn't stop people
I also want to make that point. And even this time,
we are not the only ones.
I want to say
we have droves of Chinese coming in, Indians. The economy is bad.
No. People always travel, especially when you are.
And then, Honorable and Ross, you were talking about the gains that Ramaphosa may get from not acting.
Absolutely.
Is it also not part of politics? That sometimes a leader would say that I'm putting my presidency on the line. As for this one, I will do it.
Yes.
If it is right.
But
we have
we do. Yes, that happened.
It depends on the environment and the individual. So here in the case, we are trying to be very real.
Is he contesting again? He's done his 2 terms.
So maybe for so.
But the man is running a party.
Okay.
We are trying to be very real with the issues.
So it means that the
it goes back to the.
We are trying to be real with the issues.
He's not contesting election.
But the reality also is that the reality is also what I've also painted. That there are times that the leader may say that I am putting my presidency on the line to do what I think.
I agree with you. Let me give you an example. When I went there, like when you go to Joburg or you go to Cape Town, where the whites lived, and you go to Soweto, it's a complete world altogether. Somebody was driving me, a taxi driver was driving me around Soweto, and kept complaining about how we've been so changed by these whites. And at a point, I asked him a simple question. When we were almost getting out of Soweto, I said, yes, I realized that, yes, the apartheid actually brought segregation, where they felt that some are more human than the others.
Right.
But there's one spectacle that I saw. Going through Soweto, they felt alone. I said, did the white man stop you from cleaning your own environment? The man became very quiet. You see?
The broadcast of some of the activists that they would want the South Africa, money that South Africa has to be shared among
look
the
at
people that do not work again. These are the people talking about.
Each and every one can
that is 17 million. So they don't work again.
That's ignorant. Compare South Africa to Dubai, where they don't have to work on foreigners to work and do.
Exactly. So you get the contradiction. So which foreigners will be there to be working so that the monies will be shared and then you will sleep?
So they are just affirming Botha's statement that an African cannot rule his own affairs. So Botha's statement has come to more or less.
No, we reject it.
We reject it, but South Africans have proven Botha right.
Okay.
And the target they are going, they will be recognized.
I'm saying the right South Africans are establishing companies. The weaker ones are those who are chasing out other people. So when we follow the weaker ones, they also punish the right ones who are establishing companies. It will also be another issue.
Yeah, but the right ones are repatriating the money to South Africa.
They are taking our tax. Me and you.
Taxes back to South Africa.
No, is it tax? No, they are providing service and we are paying for the service.
But if I don't give you the opportunity,
we are not taxing them.
The profits they are making, do you have an idea?
You had Ghana Telecom. What happened to it?
Okay.
So who do you
so please. Some of these things, I think we should be very careful when we are making
multinationals in our country.
We are our own doing. If MTN leaves Ghana today, Telecel,
yes,
that will be sold out. It's also foreign owned. The other one,
Vodafone,
Tigo. How much?
Now
we saw Tigo out, right?
Yeah.
No.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
We'll do the extremism bit just in a bit, but lots of people are watching us across the country and the world and are sending their messages this morning. And let me just read them. Bright from Kasoa is asking, can the president walk through the flood at that time? If the president is going by air to check what's happening, how can he be able to go round by land to see all this, if not by air? Yes, so that's what he's asking. I'm sure this is to Ross, because Ross said that Dr. Bawumia was on the ground, so the president should have been on the ground. Hi, I'm really enjoying your program. Michael from Kumasi Atonsu. I wish Stella Jewa of Accra Kanishi speedy recovery. Well, we wish her speedy recovery too. Thank you, Michael. I'm very disappointed in all our government officials. I feel they implement a policy that sends culprits who dump refuse anywhere to jail for at least 2 years. It would have been better. These are his recommendations. I didn't get your name. Somebody says MPP is a joke, but Dr. Bawumia had no idea about governance. Night Walker is the one sending through this message. Ross, please stop saying that you've forgotten about Cecilia Dapa. Where did Cecilia put the money under her bed? And you are talking about the president flying. Remember the president bathing in the air. This is Cheryl from Ayawaso Central. Hi, I have a problem with some of the panelists' expression on the matter at hand. Taking politics out is about strong demand for strong national policy. The policy must go beyond any political leadership. Institutions must be stable enough to take on problems of national development. Political party agenda is not doing anything good for this country. Eric Paddy Boso. Thank you. Hi, good morning. Kwame from Kade. All the funds meant to solve all these problems were collected under the Kufuor regime. The former sanitation minister embezzled monies meant to solve these problems. She should be held accountable. Politicians are not helping Ghana, is the message, but not name. When they are, but you are when they are voted for power, they don't know why people vote them to come and lead the nation. Ghana does not need political manifesto. I think he's agreeing with what the engineer, the professor said early on, and lawyer Kodria. Yes, Master Planner Junior Policy Analyst Kintampo says the recent floods in Accra have exposed, are devastating. My deepest condolences to families who lost their loved ones. About time President Mahama and his NDC stop the PR gimmicks and the settings. So is President Mahama saying he doesn't know the flood situation in Accra already? Flying in a helicopter while taking pictures and videos is like making mockery of those whose houses were submerged in water, properties destroyed. Irritating to hear NDC communicators saying this is not political. This is Master Planner Junior. And let me let you know that these are the thoughts and expressions of Ghanaians who are watching us and sending their messages, not the thoughts of GBC. Hi, Maltiti. To solve this flooding issue in Ghana, the government needs to demolish all structures built on the waterways and also must construct roads all around lands that are known to be waterways areas. Then anyone found crossing those boundaries to erect any structure again must be jailed for not less than 40 years. Thank you. If we want to solve the flood issue in Accra, the capital should be moved away from Accra. Good morning to my Honorable Batalia Don Cletus from Navrongo. These xenophobia killings are categorized as a topical issue of concern in Africa. This causes total loss to human life, property, many other fundamentals. I think it should be dealt with a matter of urgency. We should all know that governance is basically accessed best with the ability of its stakeholders to protect, manage, and that's quite a lengthy message, but thank you so much for that. They are making points, but the man in the Black Star jersey is massaging very significant points. I think all Ghanaians and the leaders should pay much attention to that. To what exactly? But maybe Ross gets your point. He's not wearing the jersey. Even though we lost to Colombia, Ross is still wearing his Ghana jersey. About the xenophobic killings, our Ghanaian government and information ministry must come out with a new and very strong communication company, GTN. Okay. And must have a free compulsory SIM and very cheap data for every user. Also, GBC, we should moderate something between DSTV. Okay, that will be for the social media admin. Good morning, this is Pepe Dem from Accra Sprintex. Please, we should also help the government by doing some small gutter from our house to the main big government gutter. If we wait for government to do all, then we are wasting time. There are some roads and gutters that can be done by some rich individuals, but they are waiting for government. Good morning, Titi. What is Amoyate talking about? Kindly look at Section 2 of the NADMO Act 517 of 1996. Section 2 of NADMO Act 517 of 1996. Yao Nketia sent that message. I'll try and take a look at that. But thank you for your messages this morning. Gentlemen, terrorism threat to Ghana. The alert, the Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General William Ejapong, issued a sobering warning. Violent extremist groups in the Sahel are expanding deeper into West Africa, probing southward toward Ghana. With terrorism now a growing regional threat, the question is no longer whether Ghana is at risk. Is terrorism here or almost here? I'll begin with Koting again, because why not?
Well, Martiti, thank you very much. In fact, the assessment by our Chief of Defense Staff is very accurate and sometimes I would say an overdue strategic position of Ghana. I think that there are some gaps that remains to be filled. And for me, I've always said terrorism is with us, except that just by the act of God, we have not seen anything happening. If you go to our Galamsey sites, the foreigners that are mining them there, do you know where they are coming from? Where did they take their profit to?
So are you describing Galamsey as terrorism, or you're saying the people who are doing the Galamsey are part of terrorist groups?
They are part of terrorist groups. We did a report on that, if you remember, City. They are part. So you see, what we should be articulating now is how, as a country, we can build our own buffer, link it with the wider regional body. Because with terrorism, you can't fight it all by yourself. Fortunately for us, you see that the Sahelian states have moved away from ECOWAS. And ECOWAS have done nothing to bring them back. So intelligence sharing became a huge problem. So if you look at the terrorist group from North Africa, they all gravitated towards empty and ungoverned spaces.
Right.
And the Sahelian region presented that space for them to act. Look, terrorism, as we see it today, is not a battlefield thing you get.
Okay.
Terrorists are very discerning and strategic, and the CDS captured that very well. They prey on government gaps to feed to the citizens about their extremist ideologies. Look, youth unemployment is one of the biggest security threats facing the Sahelian states. And the things that are happening in Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, and where those conditions are present here in Ghana. If you look
Are
at
they as extreme though?
Yes.
Okay.
If you look at the northern frontier, I mean the 5 northern regions of Ghana, what have we done as a country? Apart from the initiative we brought that if you see something, say something. To make sure that we are resilient enough when we see things that are not sitting well with our eyes, it can quickly get to the authorities to act. Look at Burkina Faso. You know the CDS assessed that the United States is saying that the Burkina Faso military is not fit for UN peacekeeping duties. That is correct. What Burkina Faso is doing now is that they are using the community-led initiative by pulling the young men and women along, and those they feel they can train and gravitate them into the military, they do that.
Okay.
That's what the Sahelian states are doing. That is why if they plan any attack on them, they are able to resist, because the local communities will not allow that to happen. More often than not, the intelligence get ahead of time. Now look at us as a country. we call for retooling, and when we talk about retooling in this country, we feel that giving military vehicles, what have you, is retooling. I think we cannot use kinetic means in fighting terrorism. We have to look at community-embedded programs. You were mentioning Rwanda, yes. If you're a foreigner, you are out. They have systems in place that communicates by itself. We're in the level of technology. We don't have that here. Anything in this country, we politicize it. Party A, Party B. And you see, the winner-take-all syndrome in this country have not really helped us as a people. We must move away from the manifesto agenda and put a national development plan that will predict a tenure of office. Otherwise, what happened to our citizens when they were going to these high-risk areas in, is it the pronunciation, is it Titio, some say Tatio, where in the Burkina Faso border where now people died? Titao. Some say Titao, some say Tata. You see, we knew that this corridor were high-risk areas our citizens were always going.
The tomato traders who were killed
for business. Even look at we as a country, with the national resources that we have, even tomatoes. We have to go to Burkina Faso to buy tomatoes.
But you mentioned we are not using the Bagre Dam spill to water.
And we don't have any early warning systems in place to forestall some of the security threats.
But so I want to ask, because you made the point that we are not getting intelligence from them. I thought Ghana and Burkina were in a good place. They don't share information with us?
If we share information with Burkina Faso, based on the unique relationship our president cultivated with. What about the other ECOWAS countries?
All right.
Don't forget, these terrorists, they are very fluid. They don't just move from one area. It's a network. So what ECOWAS should have done is to take advantage of the unique position our president have with these Sahelian states, and see how they can use diplomacy to bring them back. Playing the agenda of the France is not going to help anybody. We are at risk. Our own citizens are going to die. What will France do about it? If you ask a friend, they'll tell you, look, we are in democracy. They are doing what works for their country. Let your government also do what works for his country. So it's about time. I'm happy and you see the framing of his assessment was in the kinetic form. He didn't look at the communities. We cannot have any strategic position on our fight against terrorism without the involvement of our communities. And you see, we are civil society organizations. We do research. We are in bed with these communities. But when government is mainstreaming programs on terrorism, they don't invite us.
All right. The other thing is the absence of our defense minister still. Is it something that plays out in all of this?
In fact, the absence of our defense minister, to be honest, I think it does. Because Arthur Forson as the finance minister is already overburdened and he has the responsibility to act. Bridget Jeffy as a deputy minister by the act cannot take certain decisions. So whom do they defer these decisions to? So it brings a lot of coordination issues. And I'm wondering why up to now the president has not found it wise to make those appointments. Is it the case that they don't have capable people within the party who can man those ministries?
Lean government.
Minister of Environment. Defense is cabinet. Science and environment is also what? Cabinet. So what is happening? So I think there's a huge gap. In the times we find ourselves, those spaces should be filled immediately.
Thank you. Since I have just 8 minutes, I believe, I'll give it to
Yeah, quickly, so I would say that our case is not very pleasant, considering the fact that the Ghanaian society is a socially porous society. We are the people who open our doors We don't care who comes in. Growing up, we were taught that when the white man came here, we'll be following him, singing songs, marching, not minding what the white man was going to do. They took our gold, they built whatever it was that they built, we never bothered. Same, even now, I will not be surprised. And it is happening. People come here, we don't ask anything. You don't ask questions. Growing up, we were taught that when you went to Cote d'Ivoire, and they could identify you as somebody not from Cote d'Ivoire and then ask you they use the quarantine, that is your identity card. They will ask you. Here, we don't do that. When you go to China and you are a stranger, you are buying, they request for your passport. They use it for the purpose of preparing receipts. Same way Singapore and some other countries. But here, foreigners could come here, walk about.
So we're not going to track foreign data or foreigners' data.
Exactly. So it makes our case worse. But for me, what matters is that the state has a responsibility. It's a constitutional duty to protect us and to secure this nation, the sovereignty of this nation, the security of the people. And I trust that it is not going to be like when meteorological agency cautioned us and we sat back or ignored the caution.
Yes, even today we're expecting some.
So I think that we're going to do something about it. We have laws. As for the laws, we have them. The Anti-Terrorism Act is there. It's been amended. We have the Immigration Act, the Immigration. All those things are there. ECOWAS treaties and whatever, they are all there. Once again, are we going to act? Do we have the will? Or are we just going to let it slide until something untoward happens? That is the question we need to. And if it does happen, that will be unfortunate. Because for me, we know what to do.
Okay, Ross.
I think I largely agree with Kotin on his submission on this very subject matter. I must say that it's important that we've received this early signal from our security agencies, and I'm sure we are not going to treat it, as Council said, just like we treated the flood issues and the rains. And we are going to really be vigilant, especially on our borders, both, especially the land borders. At this point, we are going to be very vigilant to ensure that some of these things don't happen. It was in
your administration we had the influx of the immigrants from Niger, and you tried airlifting them, right, I believe?
I don't know about that.
Yes, Niger, the kids on the streets. It was in this administration last year. It happened.
But you see, Titi, I think Kotin made a very important point that in this country we don't really take security matters seriously. You know, even in Ghana, you find Nigerians selling land. I mean, if you go to Bujumbura, Liberians are selling land to Ghanaians.
Nigerians who have now
become Ghanaians. When the constitution of this country states that as a foreigner you cannot even own a land beyond 50 years, I have seen a lot of indenture land instruments that they are 99 years and all that. These are not helping, and I think it is about time. Again, I don't want to say politicians, but our leaders take pragmatic steps to ensure that security becomes a very important aspect of our country. If you step foot in America today, the American government can trace you and know everywhere you are until you leave the country. I mean, he mentioned that we are in the digital age, I mean, the IT age. Why can't we implement something like that? So I want to believe that the security agencies will be up and doing, and the government will complement that effort to ensure that we don't find ourselves in the situation that we have already been warned.
All right. Honorable Batali, I'll give you the last word and then we rise.
I think that this is about life. And I think that not just being conscious about community security, personal security means everything to all of us. My constituency is a border constituency. That's true. We've had instances. Like somebody is saying that it's moving towards the south. Even where it is at the north, we suffered deaths. Our traders got killed. So it's not far from us. I have a community that shares boundary with Burkina Faso called Wuru. Because of these insurgents, I think that the Burkinabe military suspected that some extremists came around that area. So they followed from Po. They have a camp. They have a camp at Po. Okay. So they followed and came into my community, Wuru, and it raised alarm. So we send our security people because they know they are rightful people. They are like military from Burkina Faso. They surrendered and we brought them to Tumu for their authorities to come because we thought they were insurgents. Okay. What we seized that day, they said no, they are just, we need to collaborate to be able to stop this.
Right.
So like you said,
we need to
collaborate to be able to stop this. So later when they revealed that no, they heard of it and they have to quickly come before they move because there's a forest belt around that area. So it is real. But trust me, I can also see constant simulations by the military. They come around those borders after every 3 months. I've seen them. Okay. It is for us as individuals to also play a role. Our borders are so porous, very, very, very porous. And like you say, that our human nature is also making it very difficult. Even asking questions is a problem to us.
Yeah, if you see somebody
asking questions is even a problem to us. But I think that things have become so difficult that we have to realize. There was an incident that happened in Tumu town. Everybody would testify that it used not to be the case that midday, broad daylight, 3 o'clock, you see 5 people well armed. They will ride motors into Tumu, just go into a particular shop, rob, and move away. They are coming from those places. So it is much more closer to us now, and I think that every individual should play a role. Like you said, see something, say something, but it goes beyond that.
Yeah.
There were instances where we even have a group of people that they came from, they were in a hotel in Tumu, registering people for that, I don't know, the internet. So when that alarm came from other people, we quickly have to ask the authorities to go. When they realized that, they said they came for business. How did you come for business without any documentation, without nothing? Absolutely. So they have to be officially repatriated to their countries. So I think that it's a real situation that we have to be able to confront as a people, because it is our safety. And we know in some other jurisdictions, even old women and old men sit in the house and they're able to pinpoint.
Yes.
Yes. In the UK.
Yes, yeah, they'll call right now.
Yes, they'll call and be able to. So I think that we should be able to activate that, not just those who are wearing uniforms. And
but do your traders still go there?
Oh, they'll go. Imams will always go. They will go.
How about if we create the enabling environment?
No, like you said, this is a country. We are talking about importing tomatoes. $100 million per annum, dollars per annum. This country, when you watch tomato season, you throw it away and you raise it germinates. That's who we are. That's who we are. And that kind of, he started by making a point.
Is it not the case that now when you go to the market and you want to buy tomatoes, they even tell you that it's the Burkina one that is selling better?
We have researchers who they've
done it. You know, we can easily sway by taste and preferences. People can tell that they will move. And you know, we have
that there's local rice, but you want Vietnamese.
I think that Ross made a point that I want to say. On this table, the conversation has not. We are trying to move from just politics to leaders. And we say it's a whole thing that we have to look at it holistically. Leadership doesn't just talk about the one leading to. It talks about the follower.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that when we are responsible followers, we can hold our leaders to account. And that should be very important to all of us.
Thank you.
And talk about World Cup.
I know.
You have to find a place to go and sit and talk.
I know, but I thought you were disappointed like me.
If football was a democracy, indeed, yesterday football was a democracy. Colombians are players. They were the better team.
I don't know what happened.
Won yesterday.
I don't know what happened.
You don't know what happened.
I know.
I
was thinking, I got a feeling that because I saw a good performance from Cape Verde and Egypt, maybe I was expecting more.
Yes.
Oh yes.
They played against
But I think on the contrary, yesterday the attitude of the players was much better than the one we have experienced in the past. Because for me, yesterday the game was very fluid. We had the opportunity to score yesterday. It was just absence of luck. No, yesterday was
how could you play for 90 minutes and there is no record that you made any single incursion?
Thank you so much, gentlemen. We had Richard Amoyate, Director of Inspectorate NADMO, Engineer Reverend Professor Eric Ofosu Entry, who joined us, University of Energy and Natural Resources. Thank you so much. Mohamed Issa Batalia, MP, Isala East. Ross Esquire Usu, spokesperson, Local Government Decentralization Committee of the NPP, lawyer Trinibu Akodia, private legal practitioner, Emmanuel Kutin, Executive Director, Africa Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism. I am Multi Decider Saturday. Thank you so much for your company this Saturday. Enjoy the rest of our programming. We'll see you next Saturday.